Chapter 1249. This is a shady shop. Tong Shuetao, who was at the side, was very anxious. She also wanted to follow, but Miss Duan could not be left alone. She did not know if Shao Qingyuan had arrived in time to resolve the matter in the shop. Shao Qingyuan, who was being nagged about, had already followed Yu Yanghong and Boss Zhang to the door of the shop. There were 4 people standing in the shop. Eugene, Old Master Yu, Second Master Duan, and a young man in luxurious clothes with his back facing Shao Qingyuan, who should be young Master Do. There were still some people watching outside the shop. Shao Qingyuan vaguely saw that the woman who wanted to have a second relationship with Uncle Yu was also there. There was a middle-aged man beside her, frowning and looking very frustrated. Shao Qingyuan walked over and heard the man say softly, "Why is Second Master Duan here?" The woman sighed. Not only did he come, but he also brought young Master Do along. Looks like the rumors are true. Second Master Duan and the Do family really have a deep relationship. However, if that's the case, I'm afraid you won't be able to have any ideas about this provision store. It's all your fault. You can't even handle an old man. The woman was furious. If it weren't for the fact that there were people around, she would have jumped up and scolded him. Shao Qingyuan raised his eyebrows. It seemed that the person the woman was talking about was not Second Master Duan. He glanced at the middle-aged man and looked into the provision store before the other party turned around. At this moment, Second Master Duan was nitpicking. I've already said that this grocery store is a scam. Just because it's the only grocery store in this area that has everything, it sells especially expensive things. The neighbors nearby have long suffered. Eugene sneered. Second Master Duan, don't lie through your teeth. The things in our provision store have always been priced fairly. How are they expensive? Besides, if our shop was a scam, the government would have sent people to close it long ago. Why would they allow us to open it for so long? Second Master Duan chuckled. Who doesn't know that you have dealings with Wu Tongfeng, the Imperial Court's criminal? Previously, Wu Tongfeng was a secondary general. With his support, who would dare to close your shop? Now that Wu Tongfeng has fallen, I think your days of tyranny are over. This Wu Tongfeng was the secondary general that General Do had personally pulled down. Now, he was locked in the prison and waiting for the Imperial Court to deal with him. At this juncture, anyone who had anything to do with him would be finished. Uncle Yu was so angry that his body was trembling. Nonsense, nonsense. Young Master Do, you have to be clear-sighted. We have nothing to do with Wu Tongfeng at all. He only came to the shop to buy things twice. Could it be that everyone in the prefecture capital who has done his business is related to him? Second Master Duan said, what do you mean by coming to your shop to buy things twice? Wu Tongfeng has servants and maidservants in his family. Why does he need to personally come to the grocery store to buy things? Who would believe this? You, Uncle Yu and Boss Zhang were also furious. However, how could they know what Wu Tongfeng was thinking? How could they guess why he would come personally to buy things? Second Master Duan hurriedly turned around and said proudly, young Master Do, you heard it. They can't find any evidence to prove that they have nothing to do with the Imperial Court's criminal. Young Master Do, we're innocent. The 3 members of the Yu family hurriedly shouted out their grievances. The surrounding commoners outside the door were all whispering. The shopkeepers and workers in the nearby shops were already familiar with the Yu family. They knew that they were honest and dutiful, so they naturally believed him. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1250. In their boss, however, there were also people who couldn't bear to see others doing well and were jealous of the Yu family's business. They couldn't wait to add insult to injury. On the other hand, young Master Do did not speak. He raised his eyes and carefully sized up the entire shop. After a while, he turned around and looked at the 3 members of the Yu family. Shao Qingyuan was stunned when he saw young Master Do's face. This young Master Do. Had he seen him somewhere before? He looked familiar, but Shao Qingyuan was very sure that he did not know anyone with the surname Dou. After young Master Dou sized up the 3 members of the Yu family, he suddenly looked in the direction behind them. His eyes lit up and he strode over. White sugar. You sell white sugar here too? Before the 3 members of the Yu family could answer, Second Master Duan anxiously complained, that's right. In the entire Wanqing prefecture, only our Duan family can obtain some goods from the capital, and it's especially rare. Those people actually have such ability in a small provision store. If not for Wu Tongfeng backing them, who would dare to sell it? Young Master Dou, you must interrogate the 3 of them properly. Perhaps they have accomplices. Eugene was so angry that he almost fell backward. This white sugar was given by our boss. It's just a little. It's usually sold in limited quantities. The eldest young master of the Duan family knows this very well. Don't spout nonsense here and label us as accomplices of the criminal. Second Master Duan said, who in the entire prefectural city doesn't know that the eldest young master of our Duan family has gone missing? Are you trying to throw the crime back to our Duan family just because there's no evidence? Second Master Duan knew that Duan Qian had dealings with this provision store. It was precisely because he knew that he had taken advantage of the Dou family's influence when Duan Qian was not around to find trouble and steal this shop. Unfortunately, Second Master Duan did not know much. He did not know how this shop fell into the hands of the Yu family. He only knew that Duan Qian was a step too late and did not buy this shop. Then, he gave up. In his opinion, Duan Qian cared too much about his reputation. So what if the shop was in the hands of the Yu family? Wouldn't it still belong to the Duan family if he used some tricks? For that bit of face, he had even given up his interests. Or perhaps it was because Duan Qian had some secret dealings with the Yu family, so not only did he not find trouble with them, he even protected them. But no matter what, he, Second Master Duan, had to get this shop today. As he thought about it, he looked at young Master Dou. However, young Master Dou was interested in the boss mentioned by the 3 of them. You said that the white sugar were given by your boss. Who is your boss? Where is he now? Eugene and the other 2 looked at each other hesitantly. If they revealed Gu Yundong's identity, would General Dou cause trouble for her? Seeing that they were silent, Second Master Duan became even happier. Young Master Dou, as you can see, they can't say anything. It's obvious that they're guilty. The white sugar might have been obtained from some improper place. It's from our boss. Then tell me, who is your boss and where is he now? Second Master Duan mocked smugly. Here, I'm their boss. A cold voice suddenly sounded from outside the door. Everyone turned around and saw a person walking in with large strides. His cold gaze landed on Second Master Duan. Second Master Duan shuddered inexplicably. Looking at the other party, it was as if he had seen Duan Qian. A chill ran down his spine. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1251. Young Master Dou's question is very strange. Shao Qingyuan saw that the 3 members of the Yu family were a little anxious, so he walked out. As soon as he stood up, not only the people in the shop, but also the people outside looked at him. Shao Qingyuan stood in front of young Master Dou and said, I'm the owner of this shop. If there's anything, you can ask me. Young Master Dou was stunned. He carefully sized up Shao Qingyuan for a while, and a trace of doubt flashed across his eyes. Why did it feel like he had seen the person in front of him somewhere before? On the other hand, the 3 of them were stunned. Who was this person? Why did he say that he was their boss? The 3 members of the Yu family had never seen Shao Qingyuan before. Last time, Gu Yundong and Tong Shuitao had come. Fortunately, Eugene had been a shopkeeper for more than a year and quickly calmed down. Although he didn't know who Shao Qingyuan was, it didn't stop him from hearing what this stranger had to say first. How is that possible? You're their boss? Second Master Duan suddenly shouted. Young Master Dou suddenly reacted. He composed himself and glanced at Shao Qingyuan, then at the three members of the Yu family. Is he really your boss? Eugene's gaze landed on Shao Qingyuan. The latter said, Gu Yundong's husband. The Yu family's eyes widened. Uncle Yu rushed in front of him. You know about the Gu girl? Is she here? She's here, but she has something on for the time being. She should be here in a while. Let me take care of it here first. That's great, that's great. It's good that the Gu girl is here. Uncle Yu was extremely excited. His originally uneasy mood instantly became real. That girl was very capable. With her around, nothing would happen. Although Eugene and Yu Yanghong were also excited, they restrained themselves at least. Eugene was much more cautious and asked, You said that your sister Gus' husband. May I know your surname? Shao. Eugene instantly heaved a sigh of relief. That's right. Previously, when Sister Gu sent someone to deliver the white sugar, she had written a letter to tell him that she was about to get married. Her husband was called Shao Qingyuan. It seemed that he was the right person. The three of them forgot that young Master Do was beside them. They were carefully sizing up Shao Qingyuan. Yes, he was tall and straight. He had a dignified appearance, was handsome and unrestrained, and had an oppressive aura. One look and one could tell that he was an indomitable man. He was indeed a match made in heaven with Yundong. When second Master Duan saw that he and young Master Do had been completely ignored, he immediately could not take it anymore. What boss? Why do I feel like they don't know this person at all? Young Master Do, this person must be an accomplice. He must be. Shao Qingyuan finally turned around and glanced at him. Second Master Duan shivered again and silently hid behind young Master Do. However, young Master Do seemed to have a good temper and asked again, Are you really the boss of this shop? I am. In that case, did you get someone to bring this white sugar? Where did you bring it from? Is it a lot? Shao Qingyuan raised his eyebrows. Young Master Do's question was a little strange. The white sugar was transported from the Xuanhe prefecture. Young Master Do, do you want to buy it? If the price is suitable, I can give you some. Young Master Do's eyes lit up. Really? After a pause, he frowned. Xuanhe prefecture? Xuanhe prefecture. Fengkai County. Fengkai County. He suddenly thought of something and hurriedly asked, Can we talk in private? Of course. Please come in. As the two of them spoke, they walked towards the backyard. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1252, Kicked out by Shao Qingyuan. Second Master Duan was stunned when he saw how harmonious the two of them were. No, that's not it. Things shouldn't be like this. What's wrong with young Master Do? Why does he seem to be in cahoots with this person? Seeing that the two of them were about to leave, second Master Duan hurriedly took a step forward. Wait a moment. Shao Qingyuan looked up and glanced at him. Second Master Duan did not dare to meet his eyes and hurriedly said to young Master Do, The matter here hasn't been resolved yet. Young Master Do, don't fall for their trap. If you follow them, they might do something to you. They're just a black shop. Shao Qingyuan narrowed his eyes and reached out to pull second Master Duan over. You're saying that our shop is a black shop? Where's the evidence? Second Master Duan's collar was held by him, and his neck was strangling. He could only point at those things with a trembling finger and say, Expensive, expensive. You're saying that the things in our shop are expensive? Shao Qingyuan let go and sneered. How are they expensive? Second Master Duan immediately retreated and instantly stood behind young Master Do. Only then did he have the confidence to say, Look at those pots and pans. Every one of them is already 2 to 3 copper coins more expensive than those in the other shops. And those tea leaves and wine are even more expensive by more than 1 tael. Oh right, that wicker basket is also dozens of copper coins more expensive than other grocery stores. Shao Qingyuan sneered. Our so-called black shop is only a little more expensive than others? Do you have a misunderstanding about shady shops? The things in our shop are expensive. Did we force customers to buy them? Did we force them to fork out money, or are the customers not allowed to leave after entering the shop? According to Second Master Duan's logic, the good things in the Duan family were all ridiculously expensive. Were they all illegal shops? Second Master Duan choked. Then you have dealings with Wu Tongfeng? What dealings? Just because Wu Tongfeng stepped into our shop, the young master of the general's residence also came in today. Doesn't it mean that the general's residence is our shop's backer? I didn't say that. Shao Qingyuan said, huh? You just what? I think you're here to cause trouble. Get lost. Second Master Duan hurriedly looked at young Master Do, who pondered for a moment before nodding and patting Second Master Duan's shoulder. He said, these reasons are indeed untenable. I don't think there's anything wrong with this provision store. It shouldn't be a scam, and there's nothing wrong with it. Alright, I still have something on. You can go back first. As he spoke, he looked at Shao Qingyuan. Let's go. Shao Qingyuan nodded, and young Master Do strode towards the backyard. Second Master Duan panicked and wanted to stop him, but Shao Qingyuan narrowed his eyes and suddenly stretched out his leg to kick him out of the door. The entire place was as quiet as a chicken. They did not know if young Master Do had not heard it. In any case, he did not stop and had already walked to the backyard. Second Master Duan fell out. If not for the fact that many people were watching the commotion outside the door and caught him, his bones would have broken. However, Shao Qingyuan took a few steps forward and approached him. Don't stretch your hand too far. Do you think you can scheme against this shop? If there's a next time, don't even think about getting up again. As he spoke, he raised his head and looked at the faces of the onlookers outside. Finally, he paused on the faces of the woman and the middle-aged man. He snorted and turned to leave. Everyone present was so frightened by this change that they stood rooted to the ground. No one dared to move. Only when Shao Qingyuan's back was completely gone in the backyard did everyone heave a sigh of relief and begin to discuss softly. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1253, thrown out by Gu Yundong again. Second Master Duan finally got up with much difficulty. His nose was about to turn crooked from anger, and his expression was extremely ugly. He pushed away a few people who were supporting him and staggered back inside. Eugene also reacted from the shock of Shao Qingyuan's attack. He hurriedly stood in front of Second Master Duan and sneered. Why, you still dare to come in? Aren't you afraid that our boss will give you another kick? Second Master Duan flinched and took a small step back while holding his stomach that was spasming in pain. However, he was unwilling to accept this. He, the dignified second master of the Duan family, had never suffered such a great humiliation. This lousy owner of some grocery store actually dared to be so ruthless. This time, the entire Wanqing prefecture knew that he had lost face. He wanted to take revenge and seek justice from young Master Do. Young Master Do definitely did not hear it just now. Otherwise, he would definitely have gotten someone to arrest this lousy boss. When Gu Yundong and Shao Wen arrived, they happened to see Second Master Duan and Eugene confronting each other. She didn't see Shao Qingyuan. Gu Yundong found it strange and strode in along the path that Shao Wen had created. Grandpa Yu, Uncle Yu, where's Big Brother Shao? The three members of the Yu family and eldest brother Zhang suddenly heard a familiar voice and immediately turned around. When they saw Gu Yundong, joy flashed across their faces. Gu girl, is it really you? You're back. That's great, that's great. Grandpa Yu was the most excited. He ran to Gu Yundong and sized her up for a while. When he saw that she had a married woman's hairstyle, he immediately smiled. I heard that you're already married. Congratulations. I just saw your husband. He's quite good looking. Is that so? Gu Yundong saw how happy they were and thought that they were fine. I haven't seen you for a long time. You look more energetic and younger. Ha 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 ha. Grandpa Yu was overjoyed. It's all thanks to you. If you hadn't taken care of us and handed the store to us to manage, our lives wouldn't have gotten better. I have something to do every day. Wouldn't I be even more energetic? By the way, when did you come to Wanqing residence? Seeing that he was happy, Eugene quickly reminded him, Grandpa, Sister Gu must be worried about her husband. Let's talk about it later. Let her go find him first. Grandpa Yu patted his head. Yes, yes, yes. Look, I'm confused. Brother Shao is in the backyard, talking to young Master Do. Talking to young Master Do? Gu Yundong was surprised and walked in. When she passed by second Master Duan, she was stunned for a moment. She frowned and asked, This is the second master of the Duan family. Gu Yundong was enlightened. So you're the one who came to cause trouble for our provision store. She turned around and instructed Shao Wen, this kind of person standing here is simply an eyesore. Throw him out. Second Master Duan widened his eyes in shock. You dare? He had just been kicked out and crawled back. Where did this wild girl come from? How dare she ask someone to throw him out? Do you think I dare? Attack. Yes. Shao Wen did not say anything else and Eugene rushed over to help. The two of them lifted the struggling second Master Duan and threw him out the door. The scene fell silent again. Gu Yundong could not wait to run into the backyard. Just as she reached the door of the reception hall, an unfamiliar voice suddenly came from inside. So it's you? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1254, Old Acquaintance. Gu Yundong was stunned. Why was this voice so agitated? Without thinking, she pushed open the door of the hall and saw a man in luxurious clothes grab Shao Qingyuan's hand. Gu Yundong was speechless. What was going on? The two people in the room turned to look at her at the same time. Shao Qingyuan suddenly pulled his hand out. Young Master Do also realized what was going on and immediately coughed awkwardly. Gu Yundong's gaze landed on him. As she sized him up, she walked to Shao Qingyuan's side and asked softly, What happened? Shao Qingyuan took her hand and introduced, This is my wife, Gu Yundong. We just got married at the end of August. So it's sister-in-law. My apologies. Young Master Do immediately cupped his hands towards her with a very kind attitude. Gu Yundong nodded slightly, but the confusion in her eyes became even more obvious. Only then did Shao Qingyuan say in a low voice, This is the young master of Wanqing Prefecture's General Do Fukang. Gu Yundong asked, You know each other? Do you remember what I told you? When I was 8 years old, I was sold to human traffickers by Boss Li. Later, I met a child who was also trafficked. The two of us escaped together. Do Fukang was the other kid. Gu Yundong widened her eyes in shock. No way, what a coincidence. Do Fukang laughed heartily. That's right, that's right. Even when I think about it now, I still feel that it was very dangerous. If it wasn't for Brother Shao, I'm afraid that I wouldn't even know where I would be suffering now. I might even have lost my life. So many years have passed, and I didn't expect to see you again. No wonder I felt that you looked very familiar when I saw you just now, but I couldn't remember where I had seen you. If you hadn't mentioned your name just now, I'm afraid we would have missed each other again. Shao Qingyuan raised his eyebrows. I didn't know your real name was Do Fukang. Young Master Do coughed lightly and said with some embarrassment, At that time, our family had many enemies and it was not appropriate for us to use our real names when we were wandering outside. That was why I was unable to tell you the truth. Please forgive us. Understood. Back then, when Shao Qingyuan was 8 years old, Do Fukang was actually a year older than him. The two of them had grown up, so when they met just now, they felt a sense of familiarity. However, Shao Qingyuan really didn't remember anyone with the surname Dou. On the other hand, when Dou Fukang heard Shao Qingyuan's name, he quickly remembered. After checking, he realized that they were old acquaintances. Yundong was stunned. I didn't expect you to have such a relationship. Isn't that so? Dou Fukang was very happy. The Dou family could be considered as having a military background. However, in Dou Fukang's generation, an unconventional person like him had appeared. He liked to study literature and not martial arts. Fortunately, he had an elder brother who was outstanding in martial arts, so the Dou family did not force him. They thought that it was good to have a scholar in the family, so that they would not be called boors when they went out. Unexpectedly, when Dou Fukang was 9 years old, he suddenly encountered a disaster and was kidnapped. He had talent and brains, but his martial strength could not keep up. Even if he had countless plans in his mind, he would ultimately lose to his body that was too weak. Later on, he met Shao Qingyuan. Shao Qingyuan had been running up and down the mountain since he was young. It was not a problem for him to fight and escape. Although he was thin, his body was very strong. The two of them worked together to make up for each other's weaknesses and successfully escaped from the hands of those human traffickers. Moreover, they were lucky. As soon as they escaped, they obtained the help of a benefactor and those human traffickers were caught in one fell swoop. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1255. What happened back then? At this point, Dou Fukang suddenly sighed. Recently, I found out that it's not that we were lucky enough to obtain the help of a benefactor. It's indeed because someone secretly helped us escape so smoothly. Shao Qingyuan was stunned. What do you mean? Speaking of their shared experience, Dou Fukang did not hide it. Back then, I was captured in Wanqing Prefecture and sent all the way to Qingyuan Prefecture before meeting you. Actually, when I was in Wanqing Prefecture, there was a gap in the house where I was locked up. When I woke up, I saw a young lady outside through the gap. At that time, I asked her for help and wanted to ask her to help find someone to save me. When the time came, I would reward him with a huge sum of money. Unfortunately, the little girl was too young and looked to be less than 5 years old. She looked confused as if she did not understand what he had said at all. Moreover, the human trafficker quickly entered the room. Dou Fukang was afraid that the human trafficker would find out that there was a little girl outside and implicate her, so he immediately stopped talking and closed his eyes to pretend to faint. When he looked out again, the little girl was gone. Dou Fukang was in despair. He did not place his hopes on this young lady at all. Later on, he searched for a way to escape along the way, but he could not find one. When he arrived at Qingyuan Prefecture and met Shao Qingyuan, the two of them finally found an opportunity to strike. All these years, Dou Fukang had always thought that they were lucky. Even the heavens were helping them escape. It was not until a while ago that his father told him that the reason why they could coincidentally encounter the officers back then was because someone had secretly helped them. The person who helped them was the little girl's father. The young lady indeed did not understand what Dou Fukang had said because Dou Fukang's words were too complicated. At that time, he was worried that something would happen to the young lady, so he said a few more words and asked her to leave quietly and find a trusted family member to help. He did not want everyone to know. He also told the young lady that this human trafficker was ferocious and it was best to act secretly. Otherwise, they might directly attack the child. Therefore, the young lady was at a loss after hearing this. However, after she returned, she still tried her best to replicate Dou Fukang's words. Her parents understood on the spot, but by the time they ran to the house where Dou Fukang was locked up, it was already empty. However, there were still some traces left at the scene. The young lad's parents immediately secretly reported it to the officials, who followed this line all the way to Qingyuan Prefecture. Coincidentally, they encountered Shao Qingyuan and Dou Fukang escaping. At that time, they caught the human traffickers at lightning speed. General Dou knew about this, but the little girl's parents knew that the human traffickers were ferocious and were worried that they would be implicated, so they were unwilling to make it public. Therefore, General Do only gave them a thank you gift and did not tell anyone else about this. If not for the fact that General Do was going to be transferred to Wanqing Prefecture as a general recently and that Do Fukang was also coming over to train, Do Fukang might not have known about these past events. The two of them talked about Wanqing Prefecture and Do Fukang mentioned what happened here back then. General Do felt that after so many years, the matter back then was not that serious. Since he had returned to Wanqing Prefecture as a general, it was only right for him to visit his benefactor and see if he needed anything. Gu Yundong and Shao Qingyuan sighed slowly. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1256, Second Master Duan is his benefactor? Who would have thought that there would be so many twists and turns in what happened back then? Wait, benefactor? Gu Yundong's eyelids twitched. When she thought of the stories that the Duan family and the Do family had to tell, a bad feeling welled up in her heart. Shao Qingyuan also thought of it. He frowned slightly. Don't tell me the benefactor you're talking about is Second Master Duan? Otherwise, why would young Master Do treat Second Master Duan so well? Do Fukang nodded. Yes, that young lady back then was Second Master Duan's daughter. Gu Yundong and Shao Qingyuan were speechless. Damn it. In that case, General Do would definitely protect Second Master Duan. After all, the man was his benefactor. He would not bite the hand that fed him, right? When Do Fukang saw the strange expressions on the two of them, he thought for a moment and said in a low voice, I heard that you have a good relationship with the eldest young master of the Duan family. The eldest young master of the Duan family has always taken care of this provision store, right? So, you don't want Second Master Duan to be the master of the Duan family? Seeing that he was being honest, Gu Yundong did not hide it anymore. Indeed. Moreover, young Master Do should know that Duan Qian was chosen by the higher-ups after the Qian family was removed. Gu Yundong pointed upwards. She believed that since General Do had been trusted by the emperor and sent to Wanqing Prefecture, he would definitely know something. Sure enough, Do Fukang fell silent. He sat back in his chair and tapped his fingers lightly on the table. After a long time, he looked up at the couple opposite him. After a while, he looked up and fixed his gaze on Gu Yundong. Then he slammed the table. I remember now, Gu Yundong. When the Qian residence was confiscated, yes. Do Fukang felt that this name was also familiar. There were some news that others did not know except his father. For example, the major case of the Qian prefecture and the Wanqing prefecture more than a year ago. Although the emperor had sent someone to take over, since his father was to take over the Wanqing prefecture, there were naturally some things that had to be investigated, especially regarding the major case of the Qian prefecture. Coincidentally, his father knew Lord Imo, who was in charge of this matter at that time, and specially heard some news from him. Although Lord Imo had briefly mentioned Gu Yundong, his father had remembered this name because of his concern for Wanqing prefecture. Do Fukang was still wondering why this young lady knew so much about the Qian residence. So that was how it was. Do Fukang laughed and shook his head. When he looked at the couple again, his gaze became different. Alright, since that's the case, I'll tell you the truth. Gu Yundong and Shao Qingyuan looked at each other and sat opposite him. Do Fukang said, although Second Master Duan is my benefactor, this person is indeed not very capable in business. It's fine if he's running a small business, but if he takes over a family like the Duan family, I'm afraid it won't be long before they fall. Young Master Do understands him very well. Do Fukang waved his hand. Qingyuan and I are brothers. We experienced life and death together back then. If sister-in-law doesn't mind, you can call me Big Brother Do so that we won't be too distant. As soon as he finished speaking, Shao Qingyuan said, It's good to call you young Master Do. Do Fukang narrowed his eyes. Why did he feel that there was jealousy in his words? Oh, right. Gu Yundong seemed to be addressing him as Brother Shao. He didn't expect Shao Qingyuan to become so petty after so many years. He even cared about how she addressed him. Forget it, forget it. Young Master Do it is. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1257. The Dou family's plan. Dou Fukang sighed and continued, although second master Duan is not suitable to take over the family, Duan Qian's whereabouts are unknown now. There's no one to protect the Duan family, so it's indeed not suitable. You're backing second master Duan so that the Duan family won't be in chaos and those who have designs on the Duan family will think twice? Shao Qingyuan asked. Dou Fukang nodded. That's right. Once the Duan family is in chaos, all the merchants in Wanqing Prefecture will be in chaos. If the Wanqing Prefecture's economy is in turmoil, it won't be beneficial to anyone. Therefore, the most important thing now is to stabilize the Duan family. Even if we help second master Duan rise to the top, with our general residents supporting him, no one can mess up the Duan family. This was the first reaction the Dou family father and son had after meeting second master Duan. Dou Fukang was not a fool. Could he not see that second master Duan could not bear the heavy responsibility in the business world? But what could he do? He had to support someone. Second master Duan was a member of the Duan family, so it was justifiable. He also had some power in his hands. With the Dou family around, the situation would not be too chaotic. However, someone from the Duan family has also gone to the Qingyuan prefecture to look for Duan Qian. My father has also secretly sent people to investigate his whereabouts. I hope he's still alive. If, he did not finish his sentence, but Yundong could guess. If Duan Qian was gone, General Dou and the others would have to implement other plans. However, the Dou family wanted to be second master Duan's backer. As for Duan Wan, this matter was troublesome. It seemed that the source of everything was with Duan Qian. Hopefully, they could find him as soon as possible. Seeing that they understood, Dou Fukang heaved a sigh of relief and said, "But don't worry. I'll go back and explain it to second master Duan and ask him not to have any designs on your provision store. Just do your business as usual. I guarantee that no one will find trouble with you. Even if someone was looking for trouble, it would probably not be good for them." Shao Qingyuan nodded. Thank you. Yundong suddenly thought of something. Then the rumors that you are going to marry second master Duan. Pfft. Cough cough. Dou Fukang coughed and hurriedly waved his hand. It's a misunderstanding. It's a misunderstanding. Yundong looked at him suspiciously. Why did she feel that it was not a misunderstanding? However, Dou Fukang had already lowered his head. In fact, his father had had such thoughts in the beginning. However, after interacting with the Duan father and daughter, he dispelled this thought. Unexpectedly, although second master Duan was not very good at business, he was very sensitive in this aspect. Duan Fukang's father had only probed a little, but he immediately became interested and directly treated Dou Fukang as his son-in-law. Dou Fukang had a headache. He had already made it very clear, but second master Duan started to play dumb and pretended not to understand. He was also very helpless, especially when he saw the two people in front of him looking at him as if they had seen through him. He wanted to wail even more and quickly changed the topic. It's rare to meet Shao Qingyuan. Since we're free, why don't we find a place to drink and catch up? No need. I'm not free. I want to accompany my wife. I don't drink. Alcohol is too smelly for my wife. Dou Fukang, are you trying to show off that you have a wife? In the past, he also had one. You're going to lose all your friends if you do that. Yundong was overjoyed. She nudged Shao Qingyuan. It's fine as long as you don't drink. It doesn't matter if you catch up with young Master Dou. We should celebrate your reunion. Shao Qingyuan frowned. No, he didn't want to. It was less meaningful to catch up with Dou Fukang than to be with his wife. Besides, he already knew what he wanted to know. The rest didn't matter. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., Please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1258, catching up. Seeing his unwilling expression, Dou Fukang waved his hand. Forget it, forget it. Let's talk in the future. Second Master Duan is still waiting for me outside. I'll leave first. He stood up. He was only changing the topic just now. Now was not the time to reminisce. However, he still gave Shao Qingyuan a token. Take this jade pendant. If there's anything, come to the Dou residence to look for me. If I want to look for you, I'll just come to this provision store, right? Yeah. When Dou Fukang saw that he had put away his things, he walked out. Then I'm leaving. When you have time, remember to look for me. Goodbye. Dou Fukang left. However, when he walked out of the provision store, Second Master Duan was already gone. Only after asking the onlookers did he know the cause and effect. The corners of his mouth could not help but twitch. He knew that Shao Qingyuan had kicked Second Master Duan, but he did not expect Yundong to be so ruthless. She got someone to throw him out the moment she arrived. He was even injured and carried to the medical center. Dou Fukang felt a headache coming on. After a moment of silence, he walked towards the medical center. It was only when he arrived at the medical center that he suddenly remembered. Had he forgotten something? What was his purpose when he went to the backyard with Shao Qingyuan? Dou Fukang didn't think of it for a moment, and Shao Qingyuan had even forgotten about it. After they left, he and Yundong walked out of the backyard and came to the provision store in front. The three members of the Yu family were very happy to see them. It was just an imagination just now. Now that they saw the two of them walking out together, they thought that the couple was really a match made in heaven. Yundong introduced them with a smile. Shao Qingyuan nodded slightly. It's all thanks to you that Yundong and the others were able to escape the calamity in Qingyuan Prefecture in time. Uncle Yu waved his hand. Don't say that. I just reminded her. Yundong is really capable. Besides, compared to her help to me, what I did was nothing. Shao Qingyuan and Uncle Yu were actually quite good at talking. Seeing this, Eugene took the account book from the shop and handed it to Yundong. Sister Gu, how about you take a look at the account book first? You don't know how good our grocery store's business is. Yundong took the account book and closed it after a few simple glances. Eugene was puzzled. Yundong said, I'll bring the account book back to read. Anyway, there's no hurry. As they were talking, Yu Yanghong came over and said, I'm going to buy groceries and cook a good meal. Yundong, where are you staying now? Do you want to stay in the backyard of this shop? As soon as she saw Yu Yanghong, Yundong thought of the woman from before and wanted to laugh. Yu Yanghong looked puzzled. What's wrong? Actually, my culinary skills are very good. I've been responsible for all the food at home for the past year. The market isn't far. I'll be back soon. Yundong quickly shook her head and refused. Let's not eat for now. Shui Tao is still waiting at the inn. If we don't go back after so long, she might be anxious. We still have something to do, so we'll leave first. We'll come back for dinner another day. Why are you in such a hurry? Yu Yanghong frowned. We haven't even caught up. Yundong nodded. There's indeed something urgent. Anyway, we'll be staying in Wanqing Prefecture for the next few days. We'll have a chance to meet. Before we came, my father asked me to say hello to you. At this point, the three members of the Yu family couldn't keep them anymore. Shao Qingyuan, Yundong, and Shao Wen quickly left the provision store. If you find any errors, ads pop-up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1259, a thought. However, not long after, they realized that someone was following them. Yundong turned her body slightly and the figure behind her immediately hid in the alley. However, that glimpse just now was enough for her to see clearly. Wasn't this the woman who coveted Uncle Yu? Did she finally know that the grocery store had another owner and wanted to investigate? Shao Qingyuan gave Shao Wen a look. Shao nodded and turned to walk to the back. The woman thought that she had hidden herself very well. Unexpectedly, when she wanted to poke her head out again, she suddenly saw Shao Wen's expressionless face. She instantly took 2 steps back and said with a dry smile, You're in my way. Shao Wen had a wooden board in his hand at some point, and he bent it forcefully in front of the woman. With a bang, the wooden board was split in half. The woman's heart skipped a beat, and her face turned pale. Facing Shao Wen, she didn't have the courage and shrewishness when she faced Yu Yanghong. She could only swallow her saliva with all her might. Shao Wen's cold voice sounded. If you follow us again, you can try to see if your bones are as easy to break as this wooden board. The woman's face was filled with fear. She suddenly turned around and ran. Shao Wen stood on the spot until she ran far away. Then, he sneered and turned to follow Shao Qingyuan. However, after today's commotion, Second Master Duan had probably set his sights on them. Although Dou Fukang said that he would be there, Second Master Duan would definitely secretly investigate their background with his petty appearance. Gu Yundong and Duan Wan were not afraid of him investigating, but they had to be careful when Duan Wan was with them. It seemed that the 3 of them had better change to another inn after returning, leaving only Tong Shuitao to take care of Duan Wan. Aren't you going to tell Dou Fukang about Duan Wan? Shao Qingyuan shook his head. No matter what the reason is, the Dou family is on Second Master Duan's side now. The fewer people know about Duan Wan's whereabouts, the better. Moreover, although I cooperated with Dou Fukang when I was young, we haven't seen each other for many years, so we don't know his character. Gu Yundong thought about it and nodded, but a thought kept lingering in her mind. At this moment, she couldn't help but say, Do you think the little girl who reported to Dou Fukang back then is really Second Master Duan's daughter? Could it be Duan Wan? Think about it. Previously, we were wondering why Second Aunt Duan chose to deal with Duan Wan at this juncture or marry her off to the old man. Wouldn't it make sense if she were connected to the Dou family? What if Duan Wan was the one who saved you too, and Second Master Duan deliberately let his daughter impersonate her to deceive others? Shao Qingyuan lowered his eyes. What you said makes sense, but there's one thing that doesn't make sense. General Dou is such a meticulous person. It's unlikely that he would mistake the person he owes a favor to. Moreover, according to Dou Fukang, his father personally thanked his benefactor back then. In other words, he personally met Second Master Duan. This seemed to make sense. Gu Yundong sighed. Shao Qingyuan rubbed her head. Don't think too much. Why don't we go back and ask Duan Wan? Perhaps she still remembers. Hopefully. Well, let's go back and find Duan Wan first. Before I came out just now, she said that her 2 maids were also in trouble. I wonder if she and shopkeeper Luo have figured out a way to save them. The few of them quickened their pace and soon arrived at the inn. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1260. Staying separately. Tong Shuitao, who was in the inn, had been waiting anxiously. If not for the fact that she was clenching her fists tightly, she would have rushed into the shop to see what was going on. Therefore, she didn't notice that Duan Wan, who was sitting behind her, was too quiet. When Gu Yundong and Duan Wan returned, Duan Wan suddenly came back to her senses and asked worriedly, You're back. How is it? What happened in the shop? Gu Yundong did not hide it from her and told her about Second Master Duan's plans for the provision store. Duan Wan's entire body shook. You're saying that not only did my second uncle want to take over the Shu family, but he also brought young Master Dou to your provision store and wanted to blame the provision store for theft? That's roughly the case. However, you don't have to worry too much. Your second uncle was thrown out by us and young Master Dou didn't say anything. Thrown out? Duan Wan looked at her in shock, and her mind went blank for a moment. She couldn't imagine her second uncle being thrown out in front of so many people. Gu Yundong nodded. It's just that your second uncle probably holds a grudge. After what happened today, he might already be secretly trying to take revenge on us. Therefore, It's easier for you to be exposed if you stay with us now. Brother Shao and I discussed it. Well, find another inn to stay in. You and Shuetao can continue to stay here. Gu Yundong raised her hand to stop her. If your second uncle finds out that we're related, things might become even more complicated. It's better for everyone if we live separately. Duan did not say anything else. Okay. On the other hand, Tong Shuetao, who was at the side, had a disappointed expression. She wanted to follow young Miss even more. With her personality, how could she be suitable to guard someone in the inn? However, this was young Miss' decision. Although Tong Shuetao was reluctant, she still nodded and agreed. Only then did Gu Yundong talk about other things. Duan, I heard that when your cousin, or your second uncle's daughter, was young, she met a group of human traffickers. A child even asked her for help. Then, your second uncle helped to save those children. Is that true? Duan was stunned. She frowned and thought for a long time before shaking her head. I don't really remember. Gu Yundong asked, what about you? Have you ever met a child who asked you for help? Duan still shook her head. I don't remember. Gu Yundong sighed. All right, the last bit of hope in her heart had dissipated. She stopped harping on this matter and started to ask about the progress of her discussion with shopkeeper Luo. Duan pursed her lips. Uncle Luo told me not to show my face for the time being. He will think of a way to save Jilan and Huilan. How is he going to save them? I remember you saying before that Jilan and Huilan were both injured. Duan shook her head. I don't know either. Uncle Luo only asked me to wait in the inn. Seeing Gu Yundong's worried look, she looked up and smiled. You don't have to worry. Since Uncle Luo said so, he must have a way. He has a lot of connections in the residence. Don't worry. Since she had said so, Gu Yundong did not raise any objections. If shopkeeper Luo had any plans, she would ruin things if she interfered rashly. Seeing that it was getting late, Gu Yundong packed her things and said to the two of them, well, go to Uli Inn first. If you need anything, look for us there. Uli Inn was the inn where Gu Yundong stayed when she came last time. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1261, Miss Duan is missing. After that, Gu Yundong and Shao Qingyuan left with Shao Wen. Uli Inn was a long distance away. She had not been here for more than a year, but there was not much change here. As soon as she entered and raised her head, the waiter's eyes lit up and he ran over quickly. Miss Gu? Gu Yundong turned her head and smiled. You still remember me? Of course I remember. Miss Gu is beautiful and kind-hearted. I remember you in my heart after seeing you once. How would I dare to forget? Cough, cough. A light cough suddenly sounded from the side. The waiter was stunned. He turned around and met Shao Qingyuan's dark expression. He was shocked. Only then did he notice Gu Yundong's hairstyle, as well as her posture with the man in front of him. He shuddered on the spot and blurted out, Miss Gu is like a Guanyin bodhisattva. She has a kind face and powerful abilities. I respect and worship her from the bottom of my heart. I don't dare to neglect her at all. This waiter was still so eloquent and full of the desire to live. Gu Yundong could not help but laugh. She remembered that when he left this inn, this person had even given him a small jar of pickled vegetables made by his mother. She glanced at Shao Qingyuan from the corner of her eye. Indeed, his expression had softened a lot. The waiter heaved a sigh of relief and asked, Miss Gu, are you staying here? How long will you be staying in Wanqing Prefecture? It shouldn't be long. Get us 2 rooms. All right, please come in. This waiter was indeed very smart. The rooms he had given them were actually the 2 rooms she had stayed in last time. Now that she was standing here again, she actually felt that things had changed. Gu Yundong sat on the edge of the bed and said to Shao Qingyuan, when my father was injured, he lived here. There's a medical center next door, and eldest Madam Yu was especially good there. By the way, he liked the bottle of internal injury medicine you made very much. Shao Qingyuan sat down and hugged her. He said in a low voice, then he'll accompany you another day and sell him a few more bottles. Okay. Last time, I should have accompanied you to Wanqing house. He kissed her face. You don't have to face such a huge matter alone. Yundong leaned in his arms. I have you in the future. Besides, Shao Qingyuan had to help escort the Tao family's 4 jars of wine to the Qingyuan prefecture last time. That matter was also very important. Yes, it'll always be there for you from now on. His grip on her shoulders tightened ever so slightly. At this moment, Shaowen knocked on the door. Shao Qingyuan frowned and let go of the person in his arms. Come in. As soon as Shaowen entered, he whispered, Young master, there's someone sneaking around outside and staring at us. Yundong and Shao Qingyuan looked at each other. Is it second master Duan's men? Most likely. Shaowen immediately felt an itch in his hand. Do you want me to pull them over and teach them a lesson? There's no need for that. Let them be. Shaowen nodded and quickly left. The 3 of them temporarily ignored the people sent by Second Master Duan to follow and monitor them. As if they did not notice, they went downstairs to eat and chat as usual. After dinner, they directly rested. The next day, the 3 of them wanted to go to the grocery store to take a look. They had come back in a hurry yesterday and did not have time to talk to Uncle Yu and the others. Unexpectedly, just as they were about to leave, there was an urgent knock on the door. As soon as Yundong opened the door, she saw Tong Shuetao, who was panicked. Miss Duan is missing. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1262, Let's go to the Duan residence. Yundong's expression changed slightly. What did you say? She remembered that Second Master Duan's men were still watching outside and she quickly pulled Tong Shuetao in. After closing the door, she asked with a serious expression, what exactly happened? Tell me clearly. Tong Shuetao was extremely anxious. Everything was fine when I woke up in the morning. When we were eating, Miss Duan suddenly said that she didn't have a good appetite and wanted to eat the wontons sold by the stall outside the inn. She asked me to help buy them. I went downstairs. When I returned with the wontons, Miss Duan was gone. Yundong frowned. Have you searched the inn? Yes, I asked the waiter. The waiter said that she went out. Miss, where do you think she would go? Tong Shuetao blamed herself. Miss had clearly handed such an important matter to her, but she couldn't even do such a small thing well. She couldn't even look after a person. She must have gone to the Duan residence, Shao Qingyuan said. Let's go to the Duan residence. Yundong immediately turned and left the room. However, not long after leaving the Uli Inn, Shao Qingyuan suddenly instructed Shao Wen, who was behind him. Shao Wen's eyes lit up and he quickly turned around to leave. The other 3 quickly went to the Duan residence. Shao Qingyuan was right. At this moment, Duan Wan was in the Duan residence. She had been very uneasy since she knew that second Uncle Duan went to find trouble with Yundong's provision store. Yundong already had enough matters to deal with, so she could not rely on Yundong to help her. They were not related to each other to begin with. They had already done their best to save her on the way and settle her in the inn, taking care of her food, lodging, and transportation. They had even let her contact shopkeeper Luo. Jilan and Huilan were her maids. She had suffered because of her. She should grow up. Duan Wan knew that although shopkeeper Luo said that he could handle this matter, she also understood that shopkeeper Luo's connections were very limited. He was not the kind of person who was good at socializing. He had already done his best to find out about Jilan and Huilan's situation. It was even more difficult to bring them out. As expected, after Duan Wan left the inn, she went straight to shopkeeper Luo's shop and found that he was being troubled by second Uncle Duan's men. He was so anxious that he couldn't care about anything else. Duan decided to go to the Duan residence herself. Compared to shopkeeper Luo, she was actually the one who was more familiar with the Duan manor. Duan thought about it for the entire night and pondered for a long time before she finally thought of a suitable person. This person was her nanny. Duan's nanny was very loyal to her and doted on her since she was young. However, the Duan family had rules. Usually, when the child was about 10 years old, the nanny would not be allowed to stay by their side. Therefore, when Duan was 10 years old, the nanny left the Duan residence and bought a house in the city to settle down. In the past few years, Duan would visit her occasionally and take some things to show filial piety to the nanny. Nanny had a good sister who was in charge of the kitchen of the Duan mansion. It was not a problem for her to enter and leave the Duan mansion. However, the old woman in charge was not a busybody, so Duan did not ask her for information before. But this time, she had no choice but to ask Nanny for a favor. As expected, the nanny was very happy to see Duan. She pulled her to take a look excitedly and only relaxed when she saw that Duan was safe and sound. After hearing Duan's request, she agreed without hesitation and went straight to the housekeeper to ask her to bring Duan into the Duan manor. After the old woman dressed Duan up, she brought her in safely. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1263. The two meet. However, when Duan approached the house where Zhilan and Huilan were locked up, the sound of people searching for intruders suddenly came. Duan's expression changed drastically, and she hurriedly ran away. Fortunately, she was very familiar with the Duan residence and knew where to hide. She quickly shook off the pursuers and hid. Then, she crawled into the fake mountain in the backyard of the second branch. She did not know what went wrong. She thought that she had been very careful along the way and should not have been discovered. She wondered if the old woman in charge regretted helping her and went to tell on her again. However, Duan knew that at this moment, she could only hide quietly and not make a sound, let alone be taken away. Otherwise, second uncle and second aunt would definitely not be negligent this time and would definitely let her and old Master Jing get married. Fortunately, this courtyard belonged to the second branch. Those people would not come here to search. She was safe for the time being. When the search outside was not so strict, she would go somewhere else. Duan exhaled and sat on the ground, hugging her legs, feeling sad and regretful. As expected, she still couldn't do it. She couldn't even do such a small thing. Not only did she fail to save Zhilan and Huilan, she even lost herself. If Yundong and the rest knew about it, they would probably not be willing to care about her anymore. She missed eldest brother so much. If eldest brother was around, how would second uncle and the others dare to treat her like this? Her parents had already left. She was so afraid that her brother had also left, leaving her alone. She could not protect the family business, or the servants around her, or even herself. The more Duan thought about it, the sadder she became. Her tears fell without warning. Just as she was about to wipe her face, a familiar voice suddenly sounded in her ear. Duan quickly held her breath and did not dare to move. However, the voice outside was getting closer and closer. It was her cousin, Duan. Young Master Do, where did you go? My father said that a thief has entered the residence. Be careful. The thief might harm you. It's better to go to the front hall first. Duan shrank her neck, afraid that her cousin would find her hiding place. Except, young Master Do. Duan had just furrowed her brows when someone suddenly came in from outside the rockery. She suddenly widened her eyes. The person who entered was also stunned for a moment. He did not expect there to be a maidservant crying with red eyes. However, Duan's voice soon sounded again. Young Master Do Fukang couldn't care less and quickly went in. He even said to Duan, please move inside. Duan was a little stunned, but she subconsciously moved inside. Fortunately, this rockery was big enough. Do Fukang had shrunk his entire body into it, and there was even a fist's distance between them. Duan did not even dare to make a sound as she tightened her grip on her legs. What's going on? Why is this person in here? Will he turn me in? Wait a minute, Duan called him young Master Do outside just now. Duan looked to the side. This person was indeed dressed in luxurious clothes and looked very noble. Could it be that the person in front of him was the young master of General Do's family that everyone had mentioned? Seeing that she was looking at him, Do Fukang hurriedly whispered, "Shoo, don't make a sound. I won't tell anyone that you're slacking off here." Duan was wearing the clothes of a maidservant and was hiding here alone. Do Fukang naturally thought that she was a maidservant of the Duan family and might have suffered some grievance. Hearing this, Duan secretly heaved a sigh of relief, but she slowly turned her head and buried her face. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1264, Who's with Who? Outside, Duan's voice rang a few times before she left. She probably felt that Do Fukang was not here, and she did not think that the son of the dignified general would hide in the rockery, so she went elsewhere to look for him. Hearing the footsteps gradually fade away, Do Fukang heaved a sigh of relief and came out of the rockery. He was about to leave, but Duan was still inside with her head lowered. He paused and asked, "Aren't you going out?" Duan did not even say a word. She felt that Do Fukang and second uncle were in cahoots. Do Fukang was not in the mood to guess the behavior of a maidservant. He raised his eyebrows and left. He had hidden here to avoid Duan. He did not expect Second Master Duan and his wife to be so bold as to deliberately bring him here. Then, they found an excuse to leave and let Duan cultivate their relationship with him. Fortunately, when Do Fukang saw Duan coming from afar, he immediately fled. Now, he should settle the score with Second Master Duan. Did this guy really think that he would not lose his temper just because he was his savior? However, just as Do Fukang was about to walk out of the courtyard, he suddenly saw a few old women rushing past. There were even rustling voices. His ears were sharp, so he could hear very clearly. They were saying, "Eldest Miss had disguised herself as a maidservant and sneaked in. Hurry up and find her and hand her over to Second Madam." Do Fukang frowned. Eldest Miss? Was it Duan Qian's sister? Didn't everybody say that she was worried about Duan Qian's safety and insisted on going to Qingyuan Prefecture to look for her brother? Why did she have to dress up as a maidservant and sneak in? Maidservant? Do Fukang suddenly turned his head and looked in the direction of the rockery. Wasn't there a maidservant with strange behavior there? Do Fukang immediately turned around and returned to the courtyard before crawling back into the rockery. Duan's expression changed drastically. She originally wanted to wait for him to get further away before she went to another place to hide. She did not expect him to return so quickly. "You're the eldest daughter of the Duan family?" Duan's eyes widened, and she suddenly knocked him to the ground, scrambling to climb over his body. Do Fukang snorted. He touched the back of his head with one hand and grabbed her with the other. "Wait, I won't harm you. Why are you running?" Without a word, Duan bit the back of his hand. Do Fukang gasped. How could this brat have such good teeth? He quickly switched to another hand and restrained her. "Calm down first. I'm not from the Duan mansion. My surname is Do." I know. You're in cahoots with my second uncle. Get lost." Duan gritted her teeth in hatred. She was really unlucky to have been caught by him. Do Fukang was speechless. Who was in cahoots with whom? He quickly realized that there must be some conflict between Duan and second uncle Duan, so he immediately explained, "I'm not in cahoots with anyone. I'm close to second uncle Duan because I'm on good terms with the Duan family. If your brother is still around, he'll also have some contact with him." When Duan heard him mention her brother, she was stunned for a moment and stopped trying to run away. Do Fukang heaved a sigh of relief. "Can you tell me now why you're like this? Didn't Second Master Duan say that you were worried about your brother? Didn't he send someone to escort you to Qingyuan Prefecture to look for him?" "Bah, Duan was so angry that she spat at him. Second uncle was really shameless. So this was what he said to outsiders. She did not know if Dou Fukang was telling the truth, but she directly exposed second uncle Duan's lie. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1265, Gu Yundong and Shao Qingyuan's visit. Dou Fukang listened quietly. Neither of them knew that Shao Qingyuan and Gu Yundong had already come looking for them. Second Master Duan was furious because Duan had barged in, but young Master Dou was also here at this critical moment. He did not know where young Master Dou was or if he would bump into Duan. This made him extremely angry, and he pointed at Nanny Duan and scolded her. Do you still have a brain? Duan came in, but you didn't tell us in advance. You came over only after she was sent in. What's the use? I'm telling you, if you ruin my plan, it'll take your life. Nanny cowered and explained in a low voice, I was thinking that once eldest miss enters the residence, she won't be able to escape even if she has wings. It's just nice to catch a turtle in a jar. Shut up. Are you trying to show off now that you know 2 idioms? Catching a turtle in a jar? Where is the turtle? Second Master Duan was so angry that his hair was about to stand up. Second Aunt Duan quickly comforted him. All right. The most important thing now is to get someone to find her. We can't let that wretched girl Duan and young Master Dou run into each other. Duan is so disappointing. How could she let young Master Dou escape? Second Master Duan's forehead throbbed, and he was so angry that he could not speak. At this moment, a servant reported, Second Master, a man and a woman are outside. They want to see Master. A man and a woman? Who are they? Second Master Duan frowned and waved his hand. I'm not meeting them. The servant said, but they said that if Second Master Duan doesn't see them, they will go to the Dou residence to seek General Dou's opinion. Second Master Duan was stunned. Opinion about what? I don't know, but the man and woman are very young. The man's surname is Shao, and the woman's surname seems to be Gu. Shao. Gu. Second Master Duan suddenly thought of the scene of him being thrown out yesterday, and his expression changed on the spot. It's them? Master, who are they? Second Aunt Duan asked. Second Master Duan's face was ashen, and he gritted his teeth. What an adulterous couple. I didn't even settle the score with them, but they came knocking on my door. Let them in. Wait, forget it. Tell them to scram. Tell them that I don't have time now. I'll look for them personally another day. He was already in a terrible fix, so how could he have the time to meet 2 idle people? Yes. The servant quickly turned around and ran out. However, not long after, he ran back in a hurry, stumbling with a panicked expression. Second Master, they've broken in. What did you say? Second Master Duan was furious and stood up from his chair. What are you doing? Can't you even stop 2 people with so many people? The servant was about to cry. They're too powerful. We can't stop them at all. Moreover, most of the people in the residence have gone to look for young Master Dou and the rest. Second Master Duan was so angry that his entire body was trembling. Call all the guards in the residence over and teach this adulterous couple a lesson. As soon as he finished speaking, a crisp voice came from outside the hall. Then let's see if your guards come faster or if he'll grind your bones and scatter your ashes first. Second Master Duan's eyes widened in shock as he watched them walk into the central room. Do you know that this is trespassing? I can report it to the authorities. Gu Yundong sneered. Before reporting this to the authorities, Second Master Duan might as well explain this first. As soon as she finished speaking, Shao, who was behind her, suddenly picked up someone and threw him in front of Second Master Duan. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1266, Give us an explanation. Bang. Everyone in the hall was so shocked that their eyelids twitched. Second Master Duan was stunned for a moment before looking at the person who had been thrown to the ground. That person's face was bruised and swollen, and his hair was in a mess. He was in a very sorry state, but Second Master Duan still recognized him from his slightly swollen face. His expression changed on the spot and he quickly looked away. Yundong looked at his guilty look and sneered. Second Master Duan, do you want to explain to us why there is such a sneaky person who has been following us and monitoring us since yesterday afternoon? Do you think that we have no power or influence here since we came from outside and you could deliberately figure out our route and then hurt us? You want to silence us. Nonsense. Second Master Duan suddenly raised his head and retorted sternly, I don't know what you're talking about at all. I don't know this person. I haven't even settled the score with you for hurting me yesterday. Today, I don't know where you found such a hooligan to frame me and even trespassed on private property. I think you're the ones who are lawless. So Second Master Duan doesn't know him. Alright, I won't stand on ceremony then. Yundong narrowed her eyes and laughed. Second Master Duan's face twitched violently. He saw Qingyuan rubbing his wrist and coming forward to pull the person up from the ground. When that person saw him walking over, his face instantly turned pale. He couldn't care less and hurriedly shouted, Second Master, save me. Second Master, save me. They were too ruthless and will kill me. Second Master, on account of my loyalty to you, please save me. Second Master Duan's face was ashen, and he could not speak at all. Qingyuan had already raised his hand. Seeing that there was no hope on Second Master's side, the person could only save himself and hurriedly shouted, I have evidence to prove that Second Master instructed me to follow you. I have evidence. Second Master Duan immediately glared at him fiercely. Shut up. You still want to frame me at a time like this? Then, he pointed at Qingyuan and the others and said, I think you're here to cause trouble. Someone, take them down. The Duan family's servants had already called for guards. Without a word, they pounced on Qingyuan and the others. Qingyuan sneered. In the next moment, he suddenly stepped forward and grabbed Second Master Duan's neck. Then let's see who moves faster. Second Master Duan instantly held his breath. You, Second Aunt Duan screamed from the side, Ah. What are you trying to do? You have to pay with your life for killing someone. Yundong shook her shoulders and looked at Second Master Duan again. Didn't I say it before? Let's see if your guards came in time or if we grind your bones and scatter your ashes faster. What are you trying to do? Second Master Duan did not dare to move. His neck was under Qingyuan's hand, and he could feel the strength clearly. It was as if his neck would break into two if he was not careful. He was clearly in the Duan residence, but he was still threatened and held hostage by a few outsiders. Second Master Duan gritted his teeth in anger. Yundong said, We don't want to do anything. We just want to settle scores with you. You sent someone to monitor us and harm us. Shouldn't you give us an explanation for this? What explanation do you want? At this moment, a familiar voice suddenly came from outside the door. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1267, Young Master Do is on Qingyuan's side. When Second Master Duan saw the person who walked in, his face lit up and he hurriedly shouted, Young Master Do, save me. Do Fukong looked at Second Master Duan with a cold expression. When his gaze shifted to Qingyuan, he was a little surprised. Qingyuan, why are you here? Qingyuan was also a little surprised that Do Fukong was present. He was silent for a moment before letting go of Second Master Duan. Second Master Duan's body relaxed and he hurriedly ran behind Do Fukong. He anxiously complained, Young Master Do, they trespassed on private property and even wanted to harm me. They are so lawless under General Do's jurisdiction. They should be locked up in jail. As he spoke, he shouted at the people behind him, Arrest them. Arrest them for me. Just as the Duan Manor's guards were about to step forward, Do Fukang suddenly raised his hand. Wait. Young Master Do. Second Master Duan was stunned. Do Fukang did not look at him. Instead, he asked Shao Qingyuan, what exactly is going on? Shao Qingyuan said, he got someone to follow us and harm us, so we came. Do Fukang was speechless. You came breaking into his house? You're not polite at all. Shouldn't you report this matter to the officials first? However, Shao Qingyuan's explanation was simple and easy to understand. Do Fukang turned his head and frowned at Second Master Duan. Without waiting for Second Master Duan to explain, he said with a dark expression, Second Master Duan, what do you mean? I told you yesterday that the provision store is not something you can touch. Shao Qingyuan is my friend. What do you think I'm doing? I don't. It seems that Second Master Duan has never taken my words to heart. Since you don't take me seriously, it's better to interact less in the future. Do Fukang sighed, shook his head, and turned to leave. Second Master Duan instantly panicked and hurriedly pulled him back to explain, no, young Master Do, you've misunderstood. I didn't. He wanted to say that he wasn't the one who sent that person, but when he met Do Fukang's gaze that could see through people's hearts and recalled how serious his words were just now, he instantly didn't dare to lie anymore. He could only admit, young Master Do, I did send someone to follow them. But you can't blame me. You know how they treated me yesterday. I just wanted to find out who they were. I promised that I didn't intend to harm them. Promise? Do you dare to swear then? Do Fukang frowned when he heard that. No matter what, it's indeed your fault for sending people to follow them. But yesterday would we have thrown you out if you hadn't specially gone to our shop to cause trouble? In the end, you were the one who started the trouble first. You're a liar. Yundong snorted. You, Second Master Duan was so angry that he almost fell backward. She actually said that he was a troublemaker? He looked at Do Fukang and did not expect him to nod in agreement. What was going on with young Master Do? He seemed to have been standing on that Shao's side all this time. He had said that Shao Qingyuan was his friend, but they clearly didn't know each other when they met yesterday. They had only known each other for a day. Could it be that a friend he had known for a day was more important than his life savior? Second Master Duan felt uncomfortable, but Do Fukang pretended not to see it. He turned around and asked Shao Qingyuan, then what do you want Second Master Duan to do to make peace? Shao Qingyuan and Yundong looked at each other and said, for your sake, we won't make things difficult for Second Master Duan. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1268, Yundong's request. Second Master Duan sneered in his heart. You make it sound like you're very aloof. Shao Qingyuan said, actually, it's simple. As long as Second Master Duan apologizes to us, I guarantee that this won't happen again. Moreover, if you set up a banquet at home and treat us to a good meal, our grudge will be over. Do Fukang, do I have such a big face? The corners of Second Master Duan's mouth twitched. Treat you to a good meal? Where did this country bumpkin come from? Have you never eaten good food? Did you make such a big scene just to freeload? How is it? This condition isn't too much, is it? Yundong raised his eyebrows and looked at Second Master Duan. Do Fukang nodded. Indeed, it's not too much. What do you think, Second Master Duan? All right, on account of young Master Do, I won't hold it against you for trespassing into my house. Second Master Duan waved his hand. Tomorrow, I'll set up the best banquet at home and invite you to come and try the most authentic dishes in Wanqing Prefecture. How about that? No. Unexpectedly, Yundong refused immediately. There's no need for tomorrow. Let's do it today, right now. Or is Second Master Duan going back on his word when young Master Do is not around tomorrow? How can I go back on my word? I can also invite young Master Do over tomorrow, can't I? Yundong sneered. You make it sound so nice. Is young Master Do free every day? Do Fukang, I'm free tomorrow. Shao Qingyuan also nodded. Besides, we have other things to do tomorrow. I think there's no time like the present. Right now, I can have a good chat with young Master Do. Do Fukang narrowed his eyes and looked at the two of them. The two of them wanted to chat and catch up, but they still had to stick to second Master Duan's family. That wasn't too good, right? There was something wrong with these two people. Do Fukang also wanted to know what the two of them were up to, so he agreed with a serious expression. Alright, it's almost noon. I'll go back after lunch. How about I try the food in the residence? Second Master Duan had originally hoped that Do Fukang would reject him, but he did not expect him to actually agree. Unfortunately, there was still Duan in his residence whose whereabouts were unknown, but these people could not be chased away. Second Master Duan suppressed the anger in his heart and could only turn around and order the servants to prepare the food. In that case, let's have lunch here. Shao Qingyuan and Do Fukang found seats and sat down. They really started chatting. Second Master Duan could only bite the bullet and agree. He was straightforward and apologized to Shao Qingyuan first before sitting at the side as if nothing had happened. As a woman, Yundong suddenly became idle. Second Master Duan got someone to bring Duan over to entertain her and chat with her. Unfortunately, the two of them did not have anything in common. After a few words, Yundong stood up in frustration. It's too boring. I don't understand any of the poems and lyrics Miss Duan said. Why don't we do this? Since Miss Duan said that she has raised a few beautiful chrysanthemums, I'm very curious. Coincidentally, my mother likes to plant flowers when she has nothing to do. Miss Duan, if you don't mind, can you bring me to take a look? Duan was speechless. I do mind. Second Master Duan also frowned. Yundong was surprised. What's wrong? They can't be seen. Or was Miss Duan lying to me just now? I know. Does Miss Duan think that I'm from the countryside and can be teased at will? Is this the sincerity of your Duan family? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1269, Young Master Do's reminder. Yundong looked like she was about to get angry. He instantly attracted everyone's attention in the central room. Shao Qingyuan immediately stood up and asked with a dark expression, what happened? Who bullied you? Them. Yundong started to complain angrily. She said with an aggrieved expression, they look down on me. They think that I'm just a country bumpkin who's not worthy of watching them plant flowers. Shao Qingyuan's gaze immediately landed on Duan, who waved her hand repeatedly. No, I didn't mean that. She didn't say anything at all. Second Master Duan also said, that's right. How can our Wenner look down on you? Would she dare to look down on her? Do Fukang became thoughtful. In fact, when he heard Duan's words, he already knew that Second Master Duan had lied to him. Duan had said that she had been tricked by Second Aunt Duan to escape from the Duan residence. If she had not met benefactors on the way and brought her back, she might have met with misfortune long ago. Duan tried her best to protect the privacy of the benefactors and did not reveal their names and identities. But who was Do Fukang? A rookie like Duan was nothing in front of him. She had already unconsciously revealed some information during the conversation. For example, her benefactors were a couple. For example, her benefactors had just arrived at Wanqing Prefecture 2 days ago. For example, she did not want to implicate her benefactors again, so she ran back to the Duan residence. If this information was dissected separately, Do Fukang would indeed not associate it with Shao Qingyuan and Yundong. However, if they were combined, it would be very appropriate. Otherwise, how could it be explained that Shao Qingyuan and Yundong happened to appear in the Duan residence and caused such a huge commotion that only Second Master Duan had to treat them to a meal? Yundong even looked like she wanted to take a look around here. Therefore, they were actually here for Duan. Do Fukang originally wanted to bring Duan out, but Duan didn't trust him, so he could only give up. He came to look for second master Duan first, but he didn't expect to meet Shao Qingyuan and Yundong. Since they were going to save Duan, there was no reason for him not to help. Therefore, Dou Fukang said, "Actually, I also feel that it's really boring for girls while us men are discuss things here. Why don't they go admire the flowers and the lake? If sister-in-law likes flowers so much, Miss Duan, why don't you bring her to take a look? By the way, didn't second master Duan say that the scenery in the backyard is good? You even brought me there previously, but I didn't seen you return in a long time." Hearing this, second master Duan immediately felt guilty. He was afraid that Du Fukang would settle scores with him later, so he quickly winked at his daughter. Yes. Wenner, you can bring Madame Shao to the backyard to appreciate the flowers. However, don't go far. It's not good to delay for too long. It'll be time to eat later. Got it, father. Duan understood and nodded in agreement. In any case, the backyard of the second branch was very quiet, and there were people watching the courtyard door. Duan would definitely not appear there. Dou Fukang waved his hand and said, "The backyard is indeed not bad, especially that rockery. It looks especially good." As he spoke, he winked meaningfully at Yundong at an angle that no one noticed. Yundong's expression turned serious. The rockery in the backyard? It seemed like there was something going on. Yundong snorted and raised her chin at Duan. "Lead the way. But let me make it clear first. I want to see those precious flowers. Don't make it seem like I don't know anything. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1270. The less knowledgeable Yundong Duan, whose back was facing her, could not help but purse her lips. "Do you know anything? How ignorant and embarrassing." Duan secretly heaved a sigh of relief. In front of Dou Fukang, she naturally looked gentle and easy to talk to. She turned to Yundong and said with a smile, "Madame Shao, this way please. I will definitely bring you to see the most beautiful chrysanthemums in our residence." Yundong snorted and walked forward arrogantly. Tong Shuitao immediately followed. Duan clenched her fists and exhaled before she quickly followed. The backyard of the Duan family's second branch was a little smaller than the first branches, but with the Duan family's wealth, it was not that small. There were also flowers, water, trees, and pavilions. It was also beautifully tidied. Yundong sized her up as he looked. When she entered the backyard, Dou Fukang's words flashed across her mind. The backyard, the rockery? Her gaze swept across a few fake mountains. Duan had already brought her to the greenhouse at the side. There were indeed many flowers cultivated inside. "This is the hang white chrysanthemum I told you about. The hang chrysanthemum, Hao chrysanthemum, Chu chrysanthemum, and Hui chrysanthemum are the most famous. They are known as the 4 great chrysanthemums. The hang white chrysanthemum is also known as the 1,000 leaves jade vase. Its petals are as white as jade, and its stamen is as yellow as pure gold. It can be considered my favorite chrysanthemum." After leaving Dou Fukang, Duan's expression changed and her attitude instantly became arrogant. She looked at Yundong with a condescending look. However, Yundong did not look at her and allowed her to be smug. She looked at the flowers in the greenhouse and asked, "Where's the peony? Why don't I see any peony flowers? Your family is so powerful. You must have the best peonies, right?" Duan was so angry that she gritted her teeth. "Peony flowers blossom in April or May. Where can they be found now?" She couldn't help but roll her eyes. This woman was indeed ignorant. She didn't even know the basics. Yundong was enlightened. "That's right. I forgot." Although she said that, she did not look ashamed at all. She looked up and gave Tong Shuitao a look. The latter lowered her head slightly. Seeing that Duan's maidservant had not returned from pouring tea, she slowly retreated while Duan and Yundong were talking. After a while, she disappeared in front of the two of them. Yundong continued to look at the flowers, like a person who knew nothing about flowers. Whenever she saw a pot of beautiful flowers, she would ask. It was probably because such a question hit Duan Wen's spot that she was very proud and felt very superior. It was as if she was a knowledgeable, elegant, and noble lady in front of Yundong. It was just that Yundong kept reaching out to touch the flowers, which made her very dissatisfied. She tried to stop Yundong several times, but the woman did not listen. Duan Wen felt that no matter how rich Yundong was, she could not hide her vulgar aura. Yundong had actually been distracted. After looking at 3 or 4 pots of flowers, Tong Shuitao returned. However, her expression was not very good. She shook her head slightly at Yundong. When Yundong walked over, she whispered, "She's not here. I've searched all the rockeries in the backyard, but I didn't see Miss Duan." "Not at the rockery?" Yundong frowned. It was unlikely that Dou Fukang would lie to her. After thinking for a while, she instructed Tong Shuitao, "Go and look around this area, especially the places where people can hide." "Yes." Yundong continued to look at the flowers. After Duan Wen's maidservant brought tea over, she took a sip and sighed. "It's boring to just drink tea. Do you have any pastries? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1271, Finding Duan Wan. Duan Wen felt that she had never seen such a shameless person. Previously, it was fine if her husband wanted to stay in the Duan mansion to freeload, but now she actually wanted to freeload on pastries? Was she planning to eat everything in the Duan manor? Duan Wen sneered, but Yundong looked innocent. "No? Then forget it. I think your hospitality is different from what I imagined." "Yes, of course we have them." Duan Wen sneered. She was certain that Yundong was deliberately making things difficult for them. It was obvious that she still hated her father, but she had to pretend to be magnanimous and easily let this matter go in front of Dou Fukang. In the end, she started to make things difficult the moment she turned around, right? "You want pastries, right?" Duan Wen turned around and instructed her maidservant, "Go and get a few more pastries, especially the few that I like to eat. Let Madame Shao try them too." The maidservant received her mistress' gaze and understood. She bowed and went down again. "Very good." After a while, Tong Shuitao also took the opportunity to go down. She followed Miss' instructions and searched around the area. Unexpectedly, she really found Duan Wan hiding in a small house not far away. It was Duan Wan who saw her first. She then came out of the basket. She froze for a moment. "Why are you here?" "Our young miss and young master are here to save you." Duan Wan instantly felt guilty. She had indeed caused trouble for others. Previously, she had indeed hidden in the rockery. However, after meeting Dou Fukang, although they had talked a lot, Duan Wan still did not dare to trust him easily. Therefore, after Dou Fukang left, she changed her hiding place. She thought that if Dou Fukang betrayed her and told second uncle that she was hiding in the rockery, second uncle would definitely send people to look for her. If they didn't see her in the rockery, they would definitely think that she had escaped somewhere else. Therefore, Duan Wan continued to hide in this backyard. If Tong Shuitao knew what she was thinking, she would probably laugh at her for being naive. However, nothing else was important now. Just get down to business first. My time is limited, so I'll make a long story short. Miss and young master are both stalling for time outside. You know the terrain of the Duan manor. Do this later, Tong Shuitao explained the plan that Yundong had given her in a low voice. Duan Wan blinked. That's it? Yes, after you're done, hide at the back door. I'll take you out then. Duan Wan swallowed and nodded after a while. I know. I can definitely do it. Okay, be careful. Also, don't trust anyone along the way, understand? Duan Wan thought of how she was betrayed when she entered the Duan residence and her expression instantly became much more serious. She hurriedly nodded. Don't worry, I will pay attention. Tong Shuitao gave a few more instructions before leaving worriedly. When she returned to the greenhouse, Duan Wen's maidservant happened to bring over some pastries. Tong Shuitao immediately went forward to help. When she walked to Gu Yundong's side, she nodded slightly. Gu Yundong knew that she had succeeded. As she ate the pastries contentedly, she continued to admire the flowers in the greenhouse. Duan Wen sneered at the side. Just keep eating. You'll die from overeating. Unfortunately, Gu Yundong ate very slowly, as if saying, I'm a lady, so I should eat slowly. When she slowly finished eating 2 pieces, a scream suddenly came from outside. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1272, Fire. Gu Yundong narrowed her eyes and slowly looked in the direction of the backyard door. Duan Wen, on the other hand, was so shocked that she broke the chrysanthemum in her hand. Her heart immediately ached. She said to the maidservant angrily, Go and see what's going on. Don't they know that there are guests in the residence? Why are they making such a fuss? Yes, Mississippi. The maidservant quickly ran out. Not long after, she ran back with an anxious expression. Miss, bad news. The guest room in the east is on fire. Duan Wen suddenly turned her head. What did you say? It's on fire? She hurriedly ran out of the greenhouse. Gu Yundong and Tong Shuitao looked at each other and quickly left the greenhouse. As soon as she walked out of the backyard, she saw the servants of the Duan residence running east with various fire-extinguishing tools in their hands. Gu Yundong turned her head and looked to the east. As expected, there were flames soaring into the sky and screams were endless. She followed Duan Wen and walked forward. Halfway there, she happened to see Shao Qingyuan and the others who were also rushing over. Dou Fukang looked meaningfully at Gu Yundong's face. She pretended not to see it and said anxiously, Why would there be a fire for no reason? This is too strange. The people in the residence should be fine, right? I'm not sure yet. Let's go take a look first. Okay. Then, the couple walked to the east guest room hand in hand. Second Master Duan was shouting anxiously, Hurry up and get water. Don't just stand there. The fire is getting bigger and bigger. The servants ran over one after another, carrying water, cotton, and brooms. The scene was very chaotic. Therefore, no one noticed when an outsider like Tong Shuitao disappeared. Dou Fukang frowned as he looked at the fire. A moment later, he walked to Second Master Duan's side and asked, Is there anyone in the room? Second Master Duan wanted to say that how would he know if there was anyone? Even if there was, they were only servants in the residence. However, the person opposite him was Dou Fukang. He could only suppress the anger in his heart and reply, No, this is a guest room. Usually, only the servants come over to clean up. Today, the servants went to look for. There shouldn't be anyone inside today. Dou Fukang said, We can't continue like this. It's too chaotic. If the fire on this side is extinguished, the other side will immediately catch fire. Give the order to everyone to listen to my instructions so that the guest room next door won't catch fire. All right. Second Master Duan immediately got the servants to listen to Dou Fukang's instructions and extinguish the fire in an orderly manner. Dou Fukang should be experienced. Seeing that the fire was slowly subsiding, Second Master Duan finally heaved a sigh of relief. After calming down, he immediately realized that this fire had come too strangely. Although the area around the guest room was dry, it was not to the extent of starting a fire for no reason. Someone must have set it off. Duan Wan. It must be Duan Wan. Second Master Duan's pupils constricted. He quickly walked to Second Aunt Duan's side and whispered, This fire might have been set by Duan Wan. She must have wanted to take this opportunity to leave the Duan residence with her 2 maidservants. Hurry up and bring people to take a look. Don't let them escape. Second Aunt Duan suddenly came back to her senses. Okay, I understand. I'll go right away. With that, she left in a hurry with a few old women. Yundong watched them leave and quickly retracted her gaze. She looked at the ruins in front of her and sighed. I really didn't expect such a thing to happen. Second Master Duan, I deeply sympathize with your encounter. It seems that we won't be able to eat today. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1273, Rescue the corners of Second Master Duan's mouth twitched. You're still thinking about eating at this juncture? He smiled insincerely and said, I didn't treat you well. I won't send you off. Yundong nodded seriously. Indeed, we weren't treated well. Then, she rolled her eyes and turned to leave with Shao Qingyuan. Second Master Duan was speechless. Don't let me meet you again. Do Fukang also wanted to leave, but given the situation in front of him, it would be a little suspicious if he left with them. He turned to look at the ruins in front of him and exhaled. Was it done by the eldest daughter of the Duan family? It was indeed Duan one who started the fire. It was just that she had listened to Yundong's suggestion. After all, she was the eldest daughter of the Duan family and was very familiar with the structure of the Duan residence. People rarely used the guest rooms here. Even if she set a fire, she would not hurt anyone. As long as the fire was dealt with in time, it would not burn down the surrounding houses. Therefore, after she sneaked here, she even found some tung oil and sprinkled it around before lighting a fire. While everyone was busy putting out the fire, she quickly ran to the house where Zhilan and Huilan were locked up. Originally, there were old maids and guards outside the house, but because of Yundong and Shao Qingyuan's commotion, the guards left. And because of the sound of the fire, one of the two old women also left. Duan Wan hit the other old woman's head with a stick when she wasn't paying attention and knocked her out before she flashed into the house. Zhilan had already fainted from the fever. Huilan was still fine. Although she was also injured, she could still take care of Zhilan. Huilan almost cried when she saw Duan Wan. Then, Duan Wan carefully supported Zhilan and left the house with Huilan to the back door. Halfway through, Tong Shuitao came to pick them up. Duan Wan let out a sigh of relief. At the back door, Duan Wan saw that the two people guarding the door had fainted, so they hurriedly left the Duan mansion. A carriage was parked in an alley not far from the Duan residence. After Tong Shuitao helped them up, she returned to the Duan residence and quietly returned to Yundong's side. Soon after, Yundong and the others bade farewell and walked out of the Duan residence. It was not until they were out of the door that Yundong asked, have you brought them out? Don't worry, Mississippi, I brought them all out. They're in the carriage. As Tong Shuitao led them into the alley, she said, I've also handed Miss Duan the fever medicine you gave me. As they spoke, the group of people had already walked to the front of the carriage. Hearing the commotion, Duan Wan lifted a corner of the curtain and looked out. When she saw that it was Yundong, she was immediately delighted. Yundong. Yundong and Tong Shuitao got into the carriage. Unexpectedly, as soon as they got in, Huilan, who was still awake, kowtowed to her 3 times. Thank you, Mississippi. Thank you for saving our Mississippi. It seemed that Duan Wan had already told her everything. Yundong waved her hand. Let's not talk about this for now. You're all injured. It's more important to treat your illnesses first. As they spoke, the carriage began to move. The carriage drove all the way to Yundong's grocery store. Finally, they stopped at the back door of the provision store. Shaowen got out of the car and knocked. Uncle Yu hurriedly opened the door and was stunned to see them. It wasn't until he saw Tong Shuitao carrying an injured girl down that he suddenly understood and said softly, come in first. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1274, Yundong's praise. There were several rooms at the back of the provision store. Uncle Yu brought them to a clean and spacious room and made a bed for Zhilan to lie down. Looking at the 2 injured ladies, Uncle Yu asked, girl, do you want me to call a doctor over? Yundong thought for a moment and said, do you know a reliable and tight-lipped female doctor? Shao Qingyuan was a doctor, but Zhilan and Huilan had been beaten. Their injuries needed to be treated with ointment, so it was naturally not appropriate for Shao Qingyuan to do it. It would be more convenient for a female doctor to do it. Uncle Yu really did not know any female doctor. There were only 3 men in the Yu family. Usually, if there was a headache or fever, they would go to the medical center to see a doctor. They really did not have any contact with female doctors. It was Shao Qingyuan who said, Huimin Medical Center is not far from here. There should be a female doctor in their clinic. Yundong's eyes lit up. That's right. How could I have forgotten about the Huimin Medical Center? The Huimin Medical Center here was opened last year, but as a major medical center with a chain across the country, there were usually female doctors in it. Yundong and Huimin Medical Center were old acquaintances. She knew that this clinic had a good reputation and was reliable and trustworthy. Tong Shuitao immediately volunteered. I'll go fetch one. She immediately ran out of the provision store. Duan turned to look at Zhilan and Huilan and wiped her tears. After a while, she looked up and said to Yundong, Yundong, thank you so much this time. I didn't want to trouble you, but I didn't expect to implicate you again. I'm sorry, I'm too useless. Yundong did want to scold her. Why couldn't they discuss it together? However, seeing that her head was about to sink into the ground, she would probably become autistic if this continued. Moreover, it seemed that she was really repenting. There was no need to say anything serious. Yundong gave her a sidelong glance. It's good that you know your mistake. Don't be so impulsive next time. However, the fire you set was not bad. You personally brought your 2 maids out. No matter what, you completed the task alone. It wasn't easy. You have improved. Duan suddenly raised her head, and a trace of joy flashed across her face. Did I really do well? Yeah, it's pretty good. Everything was going well. Duan wiped her face. She had been praised many times in the past, but she had never been praised like this. Her entire body felt warm, and her heart felt like it was about to bloom. Yundong actually praised her. Someone as capable as her actually praised her. Duan took a deep breath. She had grown up. Not long after, Tong Shuitao returned with a female doctor. Without a word, the female doctor examined the unconscious Zhilan. Xilan's injuries were actually not fatal, but there were several places with open wounds. Second Master Duan wanted to keep them alive to lure Duan out, so he didn't kill them. However, according to Huilan, the 2 of them were not treated after they were injured. Occasionally, there would be some leftovers to fill their stomachs. Fortunately, the weather had turned cold. Otherwise, their injuries would not be easy to treat. Yundong and the others were waiting outside. Uncle Yu and the other 2 also came over. They had seen Duan and knew who she was. However, the 3 of them did not ask further. They turned around and went to the kitchen to prepare lunch. It was only after lunch that the female doctor came out with a tired expression. After instructing her to rest well and prescribe medicine, she left. Yundong was about to enter the room to take a look when Do Fukang came over. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1275. Not the big picture again. As soon as he arrived, Do Fukang asked, where's the eldest daughter of the Duan family? Yundong had already heard from Duan that she had met Do Fukang. Now that she heard him ask, she could not help but look at him sideways. Why are you so concerned about her? Do Fukang was speechless. Because she is the eldest daughter of the Duan family. Yundong looked inside and said, she's inside. Her 2 maidservants are injured. When Do Fukang heard that, he did not ask further. He came over to bring them a piece of news. Second Master Duan is searching the entire city for the arsonist. It said that someone sneaked into the Duan family and stole something. When he was captured by the Duan family, he was indignant, so he set a fire, causing several servants of the Duan family to be injured. He then escaped from the Duan family. Therefore, Second Master Duan reported it to the officials and is looking everywhere for them now. Shao Qingyuan raised his eyebrows. He dares to report it to the officials? He was clearly looking for Duan, but he still dared to make a big deal out of it. But thinking about it, so what if it blew up? As long as he found Duan, he could take her back to the residence. As for how to deal with her after returning to the residence, it was up to the Duan family behind closed doors. As for what Second Master Duan had done to Duan previously, there was no evidence. Even if Duan came out to accuse them, they would be able to find an excuse. There was nothing to be afraid of. Yundong could not help but roll her eyes. Second Master Duan was really angry this time. Do Fukang said, since the eldest daughter of the Duan family is staying here, it shouldn't be a big deal. Your shop, he smiled. The officials seemed to have been taking good care of it. Yundong raised her eyebrows proudly. Of course, such a huge shop would attract a lot of attention. Even with Duan Qian as their backing, merchants could only bow their heads to the government. However, the entire provision store was only managed by the 3 members of the Yu family. They had no power or influence, so they would become a thorn in the side of others. It was only last time when Second Master Duan came to find trouble without knowing what was going on that he brought along General Dou's young master, causing the officials to not come. If Second Master Duan found someone to come to her shop this time, she would not be polite. While they were talking, Duan came out of the room. When she saw Do Fukang, she was stunned for a moment. Her expression was no longer as vigilant as before. She nodded slightly. Young Master Do. Do Fukang thought for a moment and said, I want to talk to you alone. Is it convenient? Duan nodded. Sure. Do Fukang and Duan went to the room next door to talk. When the two of them came out again, it was already an hour later. It was unknown what they had talked about for so long. After saying that, Do Fukang left, but Duan was still sitting on the chair in a daze. Yundong stood beside her and asked, What's wrong? Duan suddenly came back to her senses and shook her head with a bitter smile. Nothing. It was just that Do Fukang had analyzed the current situation with her and made her understand that at this moment, not only could she not take revenge on second uncle and second aunt, but she also had to help find those people who were originally loyal to eldest brother and make sure that they temporarily obey second uncle's orders. Duan felt very upset. She was just a young lady who did not know anything about the world. She did not want to care about the big picture at all and did not want to make second uncle and second aunt happy. She could not wait for those managers to find trouble with second uncle. However, the Duan family was her brother's hard work. Those managers could withstand the pressure for a while, but they could not withstand it for a lifetime. If they continued to go against second uncle, the consequences would be that they would all lose their jobs. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1276. Yundong's Wei. Duan looked at Yundong blankly. Yundong, if it were you, what would you do? Yundong looked conflicted and constipated. After a while, she said, my method might not be suitable for you. Therefore, it's useless for you to ask. But Duan still wanted to know. Tell me. All right. Yundong sighed. If it were me, I would kill second uncle and second aunt and take all the Duan family's assets into my own hands. Do Can's request is that the Duan family can't fall, so if I have the ability to support the Duan family, naturally, their worries will not exist. Duan, she was about to cry. As expected, this method was not suitable for her. She did not have the ability. She lowered her head and thought for a moment before saying, Then I can only put aside my personal grudges and ignore second uncle and second aunt for now. The most important thing is to support the Duan family. Actually, even if she wanted to take revenge on second uncle and second aunt, she could not do it. Yundong shrugged. It's fine. Take it slow. It's not like they won't let you settle scores with them. When you have enough strength, you can still return the favor. Okay. Duan took a deep breath and felt much better. It was indeed useful to talk to Yundong. I'll wait for Zhilan and Huilan to recover first. She had matured. As expected, in the following days. Second Master Duan was looking for people outside in full swing. Of course, there were also people who came to the Gu family's grocery store, but at most, they stood in front of the shop to take a look. They would not come to the backyard. Second Master Duan's goal was mostly those inns or rented houses. Unfortunately, there was no progress. As for Duan, with Do Fukang's help, she contacted the managers who were still on her side. She told them to conserve their strength and wait for her brother to come back, so that they could temporarily submit to Second Master Duan. Gu Yundong and Shao Qingyuan chatted with the Yu family and learned about the situation in the shop for the past 2 years. Initially, she and Shao Qingyuan only planned to stay in Wanqing Prefecture for a few days before taking a boat to the capital. Now that Duan's matter had happened and Do Fukang and Shao Qingyuan had reunited after a long time, they were getting more and more compatible. They would not be able to leave any time soon. However, Gu Yundong could not stay in Wanqing Prefecture forever. What if Duan Qian did not appear? Therefore, she was also planning to leave. During this period of time, Duan had been learning some business from her. She felt that she could no longer muddle through her days. Especially when she heard that there was the eldest daughter of the Nye family in the Shuana Prefecture and that even though her family pampered her, she still opened a milk tea shop with Gu Yundong. Duan was extremely envious. She also wanted to become such a person and help her brother in the future. She did not want to be completely helpless when something happened to her brother. Duan even wondered if she could work with Gu Yundong to open a shop or something. I have some money, but it's still in the residence. I can't take it out. When I take it out later, we can open a shop together. The milk tea shop you mentioned sounds interesting to me. Anyway, you want to open a branch in the capital. Then you can open one in Wanqing Prefecture, right? How about letting me invest in Wanqing Prefecture? Gu Yundong raised her eyebrows. This idea did not seem impossible. Not to mention her, Madame Dai and Nie Shuang would definitely not be satisfied with just opening 2 shops. It was naturally more suitable to find locals to manage the shops in other prefectural cities. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1277, News about Duan Qian. In the few days that Gu Yundong had spent with Duan, she had gained a new understanding of her. Although this person was naive in the past, Duan was not completely ignorant about business. It seemed that she had also inherited her father and brother's business acumen. As long as she studied seriously, it would not be a problem for her to be a boss. I have to discuss this with Madame Dai and the others first. After all, I'm not the only one in charge of the milk tea shop. Duan immediately nodded vigorously. Gu Yundong thought for a moment. And if you have time, you can also go to the Shuana Prefecture after your eldest brother is found. You can see for yourself what the milk tea shop is like and how it operates. This way, the management of the milk tea shop will be clearer and more intuitive. Duan said, to the Shuana Prefecture. Gu Yundong suddenly realized that it was not easy for a woman to travel these days. Especially Duan, who was from a wealthy family and was going to the faraway Shuana Prefecture. Gu Yundong thought for a moment. Forget it. I'll find someone who used to work in the milk tea shop to come to Wanqing Prefecture. However, this matter might take some time. I still have to go to the capital. If you really want to open a milk tea shop, you can find a suitable shop first. Duan nodded repeatedly. However, although Gu Yundong said that she would find someone to come to Wanqing Prefecture to help, the suggestion that she should go to the Shuana Prefecture to experience it herself still rooted in the depths of her heart. Actually, she really wanted to take a look. That was because the milk tea shop that Gu Yundong described was really desirable. Unfortunately, it was just a thought. Duan couldn't even go out of the grocery store. Jilan and Huilan were already much better. After the two of them got out of bed, they thanked Yundong and Shao Qingyuan again and again. Not only did they thank the couple for saving their mistress, but they also thanked them for saving themselves. Seeing them getting better, the smile on Duan Wan's face finally increased. On the 7th day after Second Master Duan searched everywhere in the prefectural city for Duan Wan, Do Fukang hurriedly ran to the backyard of the provision store. He could not hide the joy on his face. There's news about Duan Qian. Do Fukang heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. There was really no choice. During the period of Duan Qian's disappearance, even though he had tried his best to help Second Master Duan, those managers had also obeyed Second Master Duan's decision. However, Second Master Duan always came up with bad ideas. No matter how capable his subordinates and helpers were, they could not stop a boss who was muddle-headed and did not know his limits. Do Fukang had really had enough, especially since Second Master Duan was getting more and more overboard. He actually had the mood to think about giving Duan Wan to him even though he was managing such a huge business. Therefore, with news of Duan Qian, Do Fukang was extremely excited. When Duan Wan heard this message, her eyes instantly turned red. She lost her composure and grabbed Do Fukang's hand. Is there really news of my brother? He's still alive, right? Do Fukang looked at her hand. Duan Wan was stunned and quickly let go. Do Fukang coughed lightly with an unnatural expression on his face. After a moment, he said, yes, Duan Qian is still alive. Duan Wan could not help but cheer, and her body instantly relaxed. Huilan, who was behind her, hurriedly reached out to support her, lest she could not hold on and fell to the ground. Do Fukang subconsciously reached out to pull her back, but he retracted his hand halfway. Yundong and Shao Qingyuan, who had heard the noise, rushed over and happened to see this scene. The two of them could not help but look at each other and raise their eyebrows. However, the news that Duan Qian was fine finally made them heave a sigh of relief. However, in the next moment, Do Fukang frowned and said, it's about Duan Qian. The news sent back is a little strange. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1278, Hopeless Heir, What's Strange? Duan Wan asked. Do Fukang frowned and said in a low voice, he was chased by someone and fell into the river. At that time, the guard with him searched along the river for 2 days but could not find him. We don't know where he was carried to. When our people found him, he was still unconscious. Later on, the guard asked Duan Qian's servant to return to the Duan residence to report. He originally wanted to see Second Master Duan quickly send someone to look for the eldest young master. Unexpectedly, Second Master Duan could not wait for Duan Qian to never return and die outside. The servant was not by Duan Qian's side when he disappeared, so he did not know the reason for his disappearance. The guard felt that something was amiss, so he did not tell him the details. It was only when General Dou's men ran to the Qingyuan prefecture and found the guard that they found out that Duan Qian was being hunted. Why was my brother chased in Qingyuan prefecture? Did he offend someone in Qingyuan prefecture? Duan Wan's heart skipped a beat when she heard the word chase. Do Fukang said, the strangest thing is that when Duan Qian went to the Qingyuan prefecture, he only discussed business with others and did not touch anyone's interests. The merchant who made a deal with him was also very satisfied with the cooperation plan Duan Qian gave him. He was the most anxious one when Duan Qian disappeared. That group of people seemed to have suddenly appeared, as if they had a deep hatred for Duan Qian. Shao Qingyuan asked, could it be an enemy from Wanqing prefecture? That's unlikely. Duan Qian's journey to the Qingyuan prefecture was very secretive. Even Second Master Duan didn't know. If not for that servant coming back to report, he probably wouldn't know that Duan Qian had actually gone so far. Moreover, if anyone wanted to kill Duan Qian, it's most suitable to do it on the way to the Qingyuan prefecture. There's no reason to let him reach the prefectural city safely before doing it. Duan Wan nodded. That's right. My brother only told me about the trip to Qingyuan prefecture. He also told me not to tell anyone. I didn't even tell Jilan or Huilan. In that case, there was indeed a problem. Who did Duan Qian offend to want him dead? Let's talk about this when Duan Qian comes back. Even if he doesn't know everything, he should have a clue. Yundong said, is he back now? Dou Fukong nodded. He's already on his way back. He'll arrive at the prefectural city in a few days. Duan Wan immediately clasped her hands together and murmured with her eyes closed, fortunately, eldest brother is still alive. He is still alive. These days, she had been on tenterhooks. Every night, she could not sleep. Once she fell asleep, she would have nightmares, afraid that she would never see her brother again. However, she could only stay in the backyard of the grocery store. Even if she wanted to leave the city and go to the temple to pray for Buddha's blessing, she could not. Now that she heard the good news, Duan Wan was sincerely grateful to the heavens and the Dou family. However, there was still a problem. Where will Duan Qian stay after he returns? Yundong asked. According to you, he's still injured and needs to recuperate. It's not appropriate to send him back to the Duan residence. We have to find a place to settle down. We can't let Second Master Duan know. Don't worry about that. Father and I have already discussed it. When the time comes, we will directly get the guards to escort him to the general's residence. There will be a doctor in the residence who can treat his injuries. After he recovers, he can decide whether to stay or leave. In short, the father and son of the Dou family could not wait for Duan Qian to recover and take over the Duan family as soon as possible. Second Master Duan was simply a hopeless heir. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1279, Siblings Meet. Duan Qian's problem had already been solved, so everyone was relieved. They would just wait for him to return. In the next 5 days, Second Master Duan still did not give up on finding Duan Wan. However, there was no progress at all, making Second Master Duan even more irritable. On the 5th day, just after they had breakfast, the servants of the Dou family came knocking on their door with good news. Duan Qian was back. Duan Wan was so happy that she almost kicked her shoes over. She ran straight to the courtyard and asked anxiously, he's really back? How is he? Is his body okay? Has he woken up? The servant said in embarrassment, young master didn't say the details. He only asked me to inform you and let you go to the residence to take a look. Then, let's go. Duan Wan was about to walk out of the courtyard. After taking 2 steps, she suddenly came back to her senses. She slapped her head hard and hurriedly went to look for Yundong. Yundong heaved a sigh of relief when she heard the news. Originally, she did not intend to go to the Dou residence. She would just let Duan Wan and her brother have a good chat. However, the servants of the Dou mansion said that Dou Fukong had invited them to the Dou mansion as guests. She and Shao Qingyuan changed their clothes and got into the carriage from the back door. The group went straight to the Dou residence. Dou Fukong was already waiting for them there. General Dou was not around. He was very busy now. There were still some small tumors in Wanqing Prefecture that had not been cleaned up, so he almost never stayed at home. Therefore, Shao Qingyuan and Yundong had been in the Wanqing Prefecture for a while, but they had not seen him. Dou Fukong brought them to the room where Duan Qian was placed. The doctor in the room was taking Duan Qian's pulse. Duan Qian was unconscious for the time being, but he was fine. Yundong's gaze fell on Duan Qian. Perhaps because he had not had a good time recently, he looked very haggard. There were scars on his face and his lips were pale. He was a completely different person from the elegant young master Yundong had seen last year. Yundong sighed. Seeing that the doctor had come out, she went out with Shao Qingyuan. Only Duan Wan was left in the room, wiping her tears and grabbing Duan Qian's hand. The doctor told him about Duan Qian's situation. Fortunately, young Master Duan has some martial arts skills. When he fell into the river, he protected his key parts, so his life is not in danger. However, His internal injuries are quite serious and he needs to recuperate well. Duan Qian had already looked for a doctor before returning from Qingyuan prefecture. However, after the journey, his wound had reopened. The doctor said a few more things to take note of before he prescribed medicine and left. When Yundong and the other two returned to the room, they realized that Duan Qian had already woken up and was comforting Duan Wan, who was crying so hard that she was out of breath. Duan Wan did not want to cry, but she could not help it. Seeing this, Yundong and the other two retreated from the room again and let the siblings talk. They talked until noon. When the servants of the Dou family brought in the food, Yundong and the rest followed them in. Duan Qian had already heard from Duan Wan about what had happened these days, and his face darkened. However, when he saw Yundong, he immediately calmed down and said gratefully, "It's all thanks to you this time. Otherwise, my sister might not have been able to keep her life. Young Master Duan, you don't have to be so polite. No matter what, our provisions store has been under your care. We can help each other." Duan Qian laughed. There was no need for him to take care of the Gu family's provision store. In the end, the siblings owed Yundong a huge favor. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1280. It's also related to Shao Qingyuan. Forget it. When he recovered, he would slowly return the favor. There would always be a chance. Duan Qian looked at Dou Fukang again. "Thank you for your kindness, young Master Dou. If you need me in the future, just let me know." Seeing that he was in good spirits, Dou Fukang did not waste any time and asked him directly, "Does young Master Duan know who was chasing you? Why were they chasing you?" Duan Qian lowered his head and nodded after a moment of silence. "I do." Their interest was piqued. "Who?" More than 10 years ago, a group of human traffickers roamed the nearby prefectural cities and abducted many children. At that time, the Duan family participated in this matter, causing the group of human traffickers to be arrested. The leader of that group was directly beheaded, and the gang dissipated. Unexpectedly, after more than 10 years, that leader's wife made a comeback and found the Duan family who was involved in the incident. Only then did she find an opportunity to attack me. As Duan Qian spoke, he sighed. "I found out about this after I realized that someone was following me. I didn't expect to fall into someone else's trap carelessly before I left. I fell into a predicament and almost lost my life." After saying that, he looked up and saw that the people in front of him were stunned. "What's wrong? Is it difficult to understand what he's saying? What's wrong with them?" Dou Fukang was the first to react. "You're saying that the people chasing after you this time are the same group of human traffickers from more than 10 years ago?" Duan Qian was stunned. "To be precise, they're not the same group of people. The leader of these people now is that guy's wife." Dou Fukang took a deep breath. He did not expect this to be the case. He grabbed Duan Qian's hand and smiled bitterly. "In that case, we implicated you." "What do you mean?" Duan Qian looked confused. Yundong pointed at Dou Fukang and Shao Qingyuan beside him and said, "They were among the children who were abducted back then." Duan Qian was stunned, and even Duan Wan was in disbelief. Even she did not know about this. After a while, Duan Qian laughed. Was this fate? This was the only explanation. He did not expect two children who had been abducted back then to appear in front of him. One was General Dou's son, and the other was Yundong's husband. As it turned out, they had saved him and Weiner. The ancients did not lie. Every cause had a consequence. Dou Fukang instantly felt a sense of familiarity. Shao Qingyuan also nodded slightly. However, very quickly, the topic became serious again. "These human traffickers are really detestable. Don't worry, I'll get to the bottom of this matter. I also want to settle the score with them." Shao Qingyuan looked at Yundong. Yundong knew what he meant and immediately said with a smile, "If you want to do it, do it. I will definitely support you." That incident back then had also hurt Shao Qingyuan. Who would have thought that these human traffickers would make a comeback and look for Duan Qian first? Who knew if they would find Dou Fukong and Shao Qingyuan? After all, the two of them were the first to escape back then, and Shao Qingyuan was directly sold by Boss Li and his wife. It was simply too easy to track Boss Li to find his whereabouts. Back then, Shao Qingyuan was still young and could only escape. But now, he had to fight back. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1281, Yundong is Ruthless? Not to mention Shao Qingyuan, even Yundong herself hated this group of people. She would kill them if she could. It would be best if she could catch them all in one fell swoop. She did not want another son or daughter to inherit their career. Shao Qingyuan tightened his grip on her hand. Then the capital, there's no hurry. You know why we're going to the capital, so we'll naturally listen to you. Shao Qingyuan really wanted to reach out and hug her, but unfortunately, there were a few pairs of eyes glaring at him from the side. It ruined the atmosphere. He could only restrain his hands and smile happily. The others in the room were speechless. For some reason, they felt that this place was not suitable for them to be present. However, Shao Qingyuan had already retracted his thoughts and said, "In that case, when are we going to Qingyuan Prefecture?" He was talking to Dou Fukong. Duan Qian was going to stay here to recuperate, so only he and Dou Fukong would go. Dou Fukong was eager to give it a try. Just as he was about to say that they would set off the next day, he was stopped by Duan Qian. Actually, there's no need to go to Qingyuan Prefecture. As long as the news that I'm still alive spreads, those people will immediately come to Wanqing Prefecture, he said. Even if the news doesn't spread, they should come soon. Everyone in the room looked at each other. You mean, that woman has gone crazy? In order to avenge her husband, she will do anything. This time, she attacked me. Perhaps she will attack the entire Duan family next. At this point, Duan Qian patted the back of Duan Wan's hand worriedly, as if he was afraid that something would happen to her. It said that 2 years ago, that woman had a subordinate called Master Qian. His methods were cruel as he specially searched for children from the Qingyuan Prefecture. That woman originally planned to let this Master Qian come to the Wanqing Prefecture to investigate the Duan family first before waiting for an opportunity to make a move. She didn't expect that Master Qian to be killed. Those people who were originally following Master Qian fled and hid for fear of being held accountable. Coincidentally, they encountered the chaos in the Qingyuan Prefecture. That woman suffered heavy losses, so she couldn't come to the Wanqing Prefecture to cause trouble for the Duan family. Now, they've been recuperating for 2 years and plan to make a comeback. Therefore, that woman had already set her sights on the Duan family 2 years ago. It was just that she was unlucky. Master Qian, who she had to use, was inexplicably killed, and thieves entered Qingyuan Prefecture. Only then did she give up. When Yundong heard this, her expression became strange. Master Qian? He specialized in abducting children in Qingyuan Prefecture. His methods were cruel. He was dead. After a moment of silence, she asked Duan Qian, "Is the Master Qian you're talking about a fierce-looking man in his 30s with a scar on his face and a particularly rough voice, called Qian-san?" Duan Qian was speechless. He did not know what Master Qian looked like, nor had he seen him before. However, he said, "I heard that it's indeed so. He was called Qian-san. Have you seen him before?" Yundong laughed dryly. She lowered her head and touched her nose. Dou Fukong suddenly seemed to have thought of something and asked, "Could it be that you killed Master Qian?" As far as he knew, Yundong had fled to the Shuanhe Prefecture, and Master Qian had died during the disaster. Yundong suddenly looked up and denied it with a serious expression. "How is that possible? Do I look like such a ruthless person? How can I casually kill someone? Aren't you a ruthless person?" Dou Fukong thought of the Qian family's decline. Duan Wan thought of the Duan family's burning guest room. Wasn't this ruthless? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1282, New Painting Method. Gu Yundong firmly denied that Master Qian's death was caused by her, but she had to admit that after going around in circles, they seemed to have become enemies with this criminal gang. Shao Qingyuan said, since that Master Qian is dead, it's not important. Let's talk about that woman first. Duan Qian, how much do you know about her? Duan Qian's expression turned serious as he told them everything he had investigated. Dou Fukang immediately took a piece of paper and recorded the important information. That woman's surname is Lin, but her husband's surname is Zhua, so she asked everyone to call her Mrs. Zhua. Mrs. Zhua is in her 40s, but she looks very young. 2 years ago, more than half of the Qingyuan prefecture's prostitutes had business dealings with her. At that time, she was quite famous in the Qingyuan prefecture's underworld and had some secret dealings with the officials. Later on, the Qingyuan prefecture was in chaos, and almost all the Qingyuan prefecture's prostitutes were destroyed. Many people escaped, but no one knows where they are. After that, the prefecture magistrate of the Qingyuan prefecture was replaced, and the person who took over was the emperor's trusted aide. His methods could be said to be swift and decisive. He didn't like people like Mrs. Zhua, so Mrs. Zhua didn't manage to get in touch with the government this time. This also caused her to not dare to rashly appear. She hid herself even deeper. She originally had 2 useful people by her side. One was Master Qian, who had helped her search for people on the surface. Now, he was dead. Later, she promoted another person, but he was not as good as Master Qian, so it was not easy to use him. There was also someone who did things in the dark. Mrs. Zhua called him Liangzi. He was someone who had followed Mrs. Zhua's husband more than 10 years ago and was very good at martial arts. This time, Duan Qian was knocked into the river by him and disappeared. I suspect that the person who found out that the Duan family was involved in the trafficking case more than 10 years ago is this Liangzi. In that case, Liangzi was the person they were most wary of. Gu Yundong lowered her eyes and said, "You've seen Mrs. Zhua and these 2 useful people, right? Can you describe them?" "Yes." Duan Qian nodded. Dou Fukang was stunned and asked, "Are you going to draw their appearances?" "That's good. I've recently learned a new charcoal drawing method." "Duan Qian, tell me." "I'll draw and see." Gu Yundong had wanted to draw it herself, but when she heard him say that, she did not move and stood at the back to watch. Dou Fukang got the servants to find a charcoal pencil and sat in front of the table, looking like he was ready for battle. Duan Qian told her what Mrs. Zhua looked like. "She's not tall, about 6 feet 6. Gu Yundong touched her chin. According to the measurements of this dynasty, 6 feet 6 was about 1.55 meters. She likes to dress like a man. There's a hint of heroic spirit in her eyes. She's very thin, even thinner than my sister. Her eyebrows are long and have grown all the way here. Her nose is slightly straight, her phoenix eyes are a little white, and her mouth." Duan Qian spoke very carefully. Fortunately, he had a good memory and was a very observant person. Dou Fukang lowered his head and drew as he listened. After a while, he heaved a sigh of relief and handed the paper to Duan Qian. "Is this her?" Gu Yundong took a look and felt that she was very ugly. Did Mrs. Zhua really look like this? Duan Qian looked at the painting. How should he put it? It was hard to explain. If her nose and eyes were all separated, he would have some impression of her, but they were all combined. What was this? Is it because I didn't describe it clearly, or is Dou Fukang's painting skills too poor? Duan Qian looked up and glanced at Dou Fukang. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1283, Second Master Duan is here again after all. He was a scholar who had read a lot of poetry and books. His painting skills should be good. Then, the description was too bad, right? Duan Qian opened his mouth, wanting to say it again. Unexpectedly, Gu Yundong ruthlessly chased Dou Fukang to the side. "I'll do it." "You'll do it? Do you know how to draw?" Dou Fukang looked incredulous. This time, Gu Yundong did not even need Duan Qian to describe the target. She had already memorized all the facial characteristics that she needed to memorize. Now, she could already begin. At first, Dou Fukang didn't think much of it. However, when he saw that her movements were becoming smoother and smoother, his expression finally gradually turned serious. By the time she drew her entire face, the shock in his eyes could not be hidden. Wait, didn't she escape here? How did she know this? Duan Qian propped himself up slightly and said in surprise, "Yes, that's right. It's her. This is Mrs. Zhua." Duan Wan exclaimed, "Yundong, you're too amazing." Gu Yundong smiled humbly. "Thank you. After all, I have some talent in this area. You'll be fine after practicing more." The corners of Dou Fukang's mouth twitched. "Don't be so humble." These words revealed a smug tone that deserved a beating. He pulled Shao Qingyuan and instructed him earnestly, "Brother, persuade sister-in-law not to say that next time. She's publicly slapping someone's face. If she meets such a narrow-minded person, she'll take revenge." Shao Qingyuan glanced at him. "We know that you're open-minded. Most importantly, your drawing was too ugly." If Yundong wanted to help him, she naturally had to do it herself. Dou Fukang was speechless. What he said was very right. He felt strangely happy. Gu Yundong had already started to ask about the other two people's appearances. She moved very quickly and soon finished 2 more paintings. There were also some small fries. Duan Qian had also said what he could say. If he couldn't remember, he could only give a rough description and forget about it. By the time Gu Yundong was done, there were already a lot of papers on the table. Other than Shao Qingyuan, all 3 people in the room clicked their tongues as they held the portraits. She was indeed capable. Look at this painting. It was simply vivid. Dou Fukang quietly glanced at the portrait he had drawn. Finally, he couldn't help but slowly move over and reach out to destroy the painting. Unexpectedly, when he looked up, he saw that the 4 people in the room were all looking at him. Dou Fukang immediately coughed lightly and said, "Since the portraits are out, they'll get someone to wait at the city gate and see when they will enter the city. Coincidentally, my father has been making a big move recently. Even if the city gate is strictly checked, it won't attract any attention. Yes, let's watch over them after they enter the city. When everyone is here, we'll catch them all in one fell swoop," Shao Qingyuan said. Dou Fukang nodded. "That's what I mean too." After saying that, he rolled up the portraits on the table. "I'll go now. You guys chat first." After saying that, Dou Fukang was about to leave. Unexpectedly, he bumped into his servant the moment he stepped out of the door. His brow furrowed. "What are you doing?" Young master, second master Duan and his daughter are here again." The servant hurriedly took 2 steps back and replied respectfully. Before Dou Fukang could say anything, the expressions of Duan Qian and his sister in the room had already turned ugly. Second master Duan and his daughter still dared to come? Didn't I tell them that I've been very busy recently and don't have time to see them? Dou Fukang said irritably. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1284. You were clearly the one who saved her back then. Dou Fukang's only remaining patience was exhausted by this father-daughter duo. It was one thing for second master Duan to be muddle-headed all day and come up with bad ideas to cause trouble for him, but the brother of Duan Wan would also send him an invitation to visit the Duan residence, or he would visit the Dou residence. Dou Fukang was so angry that he wanted to laugh. This brother Duan was only 12 or 13 years old. They had nothing in common at all. What sort of visit? The first time, Dou Fukang did not reject him out of respect. Brother Duan had come to visit. However, he had actually brought Duan Wan along. Wasn't everyone aware of his intentions? This was truly too improper. Fortunately, the women of the Dou family had yet to come to Wanqing Prefecture. Otherwise, Duan would probably have to personally send invitations. Ever since then, Dou Fukong had been avoiding Second Master Duan's family. He had rejected the Duan family's invitations a few times because he was busy. Now, they were probably anxious. Dou Fukong rubbed his temples and asked the servant to send them away. However, the servant looked troubled. Young Master, Second Master Duan happened to bump into Old Master returning to the residence when he came, so they came in together. The corners of Dou Fukong's mouth twitched. Duan Qian frowned and asked, "Did my second uncle find out about my return and specially came to visit?" Dou Fukong shook his head. "No, they are, he could not bring himself to say it. It was Duan who whispered, 'Big brother, Duan has taken a fancy to young Master Dou. Second uncle wants to use the kindness from back then to make young Master Dou marry Duan." Speaking of this, Dou Fukong's face turned ashen. Duan Qian was enlightened, but then he was a little puzzled. "My second uncle is also indebted to young Master Dou? It's about the kidnapping of young Master Dou more than 10 years ago. It was Duan who reported it on behalf of young Master Dou. Second uncle helped to catch those human traffickers." Duan had already figured out the ins and outs of the matter. She could only say that second uncle's luck was a little too good. For the sake of that matter, she reckoned that General Dou would still help them when her eldest brother dealt with her second uncle. Therefore, Duan often secretly thought that if second uncle went overboard, he might be able to fall out with the Dou family. That way, everyone would be happy. Moreover, General Dou had already done his best to help second uncle and the others. More than 10 years ago, General Dou had also given second uncle a reward. Now that he had helped second uncle so much, he couldn't really ask young Master Dou to marry the girl, right? Duan was unhappy and turned to look at her brother. Unexpectedly, Duan Qian also looked stunned. He asked in shock, "What did you say just now? You mean that Duan was the one who reported the kidnapping more than 10 years ago?" Yes. "Why?" Duan Qian said, "But you were the one who reported it back then. Why did it become Duan?" What? Not only Duan, but even Dou Fukong was shocked. He suddenly turned around and returned to the room, grabbing Duan Qian's shoulder. Seeing Duan Qian moan, he remembered that he was still injured. He hurriedly let go and asked, "What did you say just now?" "The little girl I met back then who reported the news was eldest Miss Duan?" Duan Qian nodded. "It's indeed Weiner." He looked at Duan. "Don't you remember?" Duan shook her head in a daze. "No, I don't remember." "Is that true?" She looked at Dou Fukong and then at Shao Qingyuan. "It's really me?" Duan Qian frowned and nodded solemnly. "It's you. I was already 8 years old back then. I remember it clearly. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1285, The Truth. Back then Duan swallowed her saliva. "So I was the one who saw young Master Dou being kidnapped back then and ran to tell second uncle that second uncle went to save him?" "Of course not." Duan Qian denied it. "Back then, after you returned, you found me directly. I brought you to father. Later, father immediately brought you to the small house where the children were locked up. However, there was no one in the house anymore. Father still had some ties with the prefecture magistrate of the prefecture city back then, so he went to report to the officials first. Duan didn't remember what happened back then, but Duan Qian remembered it deeply. Father originally planned to let the government take over this matter after reporting it to the officials. However, father saw that we were young back then and could not help but pay more attention to this matter. He also promised that the money to find the children would be paid by him as a good deed. He didn't expect Uncle Luo's son to go missing in just a day. Father thought very highly of Uncle Luo. He suspected that that group of human traffickers also abducted Uncle Luo's son. Therefore, not only was the government looking for that group of people, father also sent many people to track them all the way to Qingyuan Prefecture. In the end, he found them in Qingyuan Prefecture. Coincidentally, second uncle was meeting friends in Qingyuan Prefecture during those days. Father wrote a letter and got someone to send it to second uncle at full speed. He asked second uncle to find father's friend for help before saving the children. The 4 people in the room were speechless. It turned out that this was the case. Therefore, when General Dou looked for his benefactor, it was second uncle Duan who showed up. Second uncle Duan had indeed helped, but he had actually played a negligible role. After General Dou thanked him and paid him, this favor was enough. However, this shameless person actually still considered himself a benefactor more than 10 years later and even dreamed of marrying Duan Wen to Dou Fukang? Gu Yundong suddenly narrowed her eyes. No wonder second uncle Duan was so eager to harm Duan Wen previously. He wanted to match her with that old Master Zheng and seized the time to matchmake Duan Wen and young Master Dou. He was afraid that he would not be able to gain any benefits after the matter fell apart. Dou Fukang also thought of it. He slammed the table hard. How despicable. Duan Wen was stunned. She glanced at Dou Fukang and thought about Gu Yundong's words. Could it be that second uncle was afraid that she would marry Dou Fukang? How was that possible? She pursed her lips and lowered her head slightly. After a moment, she asked softly, then, was Uncle Luo's son also abducted by those human traffickers? No, Uncle Luo's son was taken away by someone who had a grudge against him. Later on, it was father who helped find him. In order to save Uncle Luo's son, father was injured. Therefore, Uncle Luo was very loyal to father. Duan Wen was enlightened. No wonder he helped her without hesitation when she went to look for shopkeeper Luo. Uncle Luo was loyal not to the Duan family, but to her father, so he was loyal to her and her brother. Duan Qian sighed and looked at Dou Fukang. Young Master Dou, if you don't believe me, you can go to the government office to find the document from back then. It should be there. Dou Fukang looked at Duan Wen with a complicated gaze and stood up. I believe you. As he spoke, he bowed deeply to Duan Qian and Duan Wen. We were not cautious enough. No matter what, thank you for what happened back then. After saying that, he straightened up and said, you guys rest first. I'll go settle this matter before coming back. After Dou Fukang left, Gu Yundong and Shao Qingyuan looked at each other. What should they do? They wanted to watch the show. Hence, the 2 of them tacitly exchanged glances and left. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1286, General Dou's impression of Shao Qingyuan. When Gu Yundong and Duan Wen reached the hall, they heard Duan Wen's sweet voice. Young Master Dou has a lot of work to do every day. It's been hard on you. This is the chicken soup I specially made. Young Master Dou, try it. Gu Yundong wanted to laugh. She leaned against the door frame behind her and stuck out her forehead a little. Shao Qingyuan stood behind her and pulled her slightly to prevent her from falling to the ground. However, not long after, she suddenly felt a sharp and cold gaze behind her. Shao Qingyuan's heart skipped a beat. He suddenly turned his head and met General Dou's sharp gaze. He instantly straightened Gu Yundong and turned around with her. He nodded slightly at General Dou. Lord Dou. His voice was a little low, so no one in the hall heard him. General Dou glanced at them and frowned slightly. There was a murderous aura on him. Shao Qingyuan and Gu Yundong were very sharp. They could even sense the smell of blood around him. Thinking of General Dou's actions in the prefectural city during this period of time, the 2 of them could not help but look serious. General Dou did not say anything. When he saw the 2 of them sneaking around just now, he was about to make things difficult for them on the spot. It was only when the butler beside him said that they were friends of Fukang that General Dou realized that the person who had escaped from the hands of the human traffickers with Fukang back then should be this person in front of him. Shao Qingyuan. General Dou knew more. The person in front of him should be the one who had caused a huge uproar in the capital at the beginning of the year and personally inoculated the prince. This was the first time General Dou had seen Shao Qingyuan. He was completely different from the kind-hearted doctor he had imagined. He was also worlds apart from the smart, cunning, and scheming Fukang. The Shao Qingyuan in front of him seemed to be the same kind of person as him. There was a ferocious aura around him, and he looked cold and unapproachable. He was a natural general. However, his eavesdropping just now felt a little like a villain. For a moment, General Dou looked at Shao Qingyuan with a complicated gaze. If there's anything you want to know, why don't you go in? There was really no need to listen outside. It was not something shameful. After General Dou finished speaking, he moved past the two of them and walked in. He was the one who brought Second Master Duan and the others in. Previously, he had only gone to change his clothes. Unexpectedly, just as he took a step forward, Dou Fukang's cold laughter suddenly came from inside. Second Master Duan, you should put away that little plan in your heart. It's not enough that you lied to my father more than 10 years ago. Now, you still want to continue treating the Dou family as fools. Do you really think our Dou family is easy to bully? General Dou paused for a moment before silently retracting his steps. The man lied to him? He frowned and looked at Shao Qingyuan. He did not say a word, but Shao Qingyuan and Yundong could magically read the question in his eyes. Well, it's a long story. General Dou, then tell me slowly. We feel that it is more appropriate for young Master Dou to personally say this matter. General Dou, there's nothing unsuitable about it. As a man, you should tell the truth. Then on this side, General Dou, I'll leave this to Fukang. Follow me to the study. Then, General Dou turned around and left. Yundong covered her face. What just happened? Did they have a conversation? Did they? Shao Qingyuan smiled and pulled her to follow General Dou. The butler, who was not far away, looked confused. What was going on? He did not seem to understand. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1287, Duan Wen ran away. Yundong and Shao Qingyuan silently followed General Dou to the study. However, although this was a long story, it was really concise when Shao Qingyuan described it. As soon as he entered the study, Shao Qingyuan said, the young lady who reported the case more than 10 years ago was eldest Miss Duan. The one who arranged everything and found someone to save her was the deceased Master Duan. Second Master Duan just happened to meet friends in Qingyuan Prefecture and clean up the aftermath before accepting Lord Dou's reward. General Dou, who was about to ask the servants to serve tea, was speechless. You're done? He glanced at Shao Qingyuan and lowered his head in silence. After a while, he said, young Master Duan is awake, right? Is there a problem if I go over now? This way, please. Hence, the three of them opened the door again and walked out. General Dou knew that Dou Fukang had brought Duan Qian home, but he had yet to meet him. Now that he knew that his father was the benefactor who had helped him a lot, and he had carelessly thanked the wrong person, General Dou felt a little uncomfortable. No wonder he heard Fukang's angry tone just now. It was obvious that he was furious. Even he had an extremely ugly expression on his face. His hands that hung by his sides were tightly clenched. Yundong followed behind and touched her nose silently. She and Shao Qingyuan followed behind him without saying a word. Just as they were about to reach the courtyard where Duan Qian was recuperating, Yundong suddenly paused. From the corner of her eye, she saw someone rushing over with an anxious expression. However, when that person saw General Dou's back, he suddenly stopped in his tracks and took 2 steps back hesitantly. Yundong remembered that this person seemed to be the servant who had previously reported to Dou Fukang. What happened? She paused and whispered to Shao Qingyuan, I'll go over and take a look. Accompany Lord Dou to meet Duan Qian first. Be careful. Shao Qingyuan also saw the servant. Yeah. Yundong took a few steps back. When she saw General Dou enter the courtyard, she suddenly turned around and walked towards the servant. What's wrong? Did something happen? The servant hurriedly said, just now, young master wanted second master Duan and second Miss Duan to leave. Unexpectedly, just as we walked out of the hall, second Miss Duan suddenly ran away and said that she wanted to seek justice from General Do. We didn't pay attention for a moment, so, the corners of Yundong's mouth twitched. Was Duan one out of her mind? Who would seek General Do's help for the things that their family had done? Which way did she run? The servant pointed to the left. Yundong heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, she was not going to Duan Qian's courtyard. Now was not the time for them to meet. Let's go and take a look. The servant immediately led her to the left. Unexpectedly, after taking a few steps, someone suddenly rushed out. Yundong took a closer look. Oh, isn't this Duan? Duan did not notice and ran over in a hurry. Just as she was about to bump into Yundong, the latter moved to the side and Duan uncontrollably bumped into the servant. Yundong, I really didn't do it on purpose. It was an instinctive reaction. Duan and the servant were knocked to the ground at the same time. Just as Yundong was hesitating about which one to pull, she heard a few dogs barking from behind. They sounded fierce. Duan, who was sitting on the ground, immediately screamed, "Dog, the dogs are here. Help." She sat on the ground and moved back. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1288, Yundong takes the blame. On the other hand, the servant had already stood up. He glanced at the two wolfhounds that had already run close and hurriedly scolded them. The two dogs immediately stopped obediently and stuck out their tongues. A servant ran over while panting and hurriedly pulled the leashes of the two dogs. He said, "This girl suddenly barged in and disturbed Wang Kai and Wang Zi. They thought that she was a thief and rushed out. I couldn't stop them." Wang Kai, Wang Zi. Who came up with those names? It seemed like their master had high expectations. The servant explained to Yundong, Wang Kai and Wang Zi is the Lord's wolfhounds. He usually stays in the backyard. This time, he glanced at Duan with dissatisfaction in his eyes. Wang Kai and Wang Zi were usually very obedient and often helped the Lord work. They were the treasures of the entire general's residence. However, when Duan saw the two dogs being restrained and pulled away, she instantly heaved a sigh of relief and stood up from the ground. Without the threat of the big dogs, her thumping heart finally calmed down. Then, she looked up and saw Yundong. She immediately shouted, "Why are you here?" Yundong was speechless. "So you only saw me now?" Duan frowned and looked at her, then at the servant who was rather respectful to her. However, she did not see Shao Qingyuan, and her expression changed on the spot. You're here alone? Is there a problem with me being here alone?" Yundong looked puzzled. Duan's expression kept changing. It was unknown what she was thinking. After a moment, she came to a realization and pointed at her angrily. "It's you, right?" "Huh?" What was wrong with her? She hadn't asked the dog to go after her. "It's you. You want to seduce young Master Do. You're simply shameless. You already have a husband, yet you still came here. I'm curious why young Master Do would say those words. You were the one who sowed discord and destroyed the relationship between our Duan family and the Do family, right?" Yundong was dumbfounded. "What's wrong with you?" Although she had thought that Duan's imagination was quite impressive when she was in the Duan family, she did not expect it to be so impressive. Just because she did not have Shao Qingyuan by her side, just because she appeared in the Do residence, this woman could determine that she had an affair with young Master Do? Damn it, this woman was simply poisonous. However, seeing that she did not deny it, Duan was even more certain that this was the truth. She immediately rushed over and swung her hand at Yundong's face. "You be *tch, I'll smash your face. Let's see who else you can seduce." The servant's expression changed drastically. He wanted to stop her, but it was too late. He had just stood far away and could only shout, "Be careful." Yundong narrowed her eyes. After turning slightly to the side, she grabbed Duan Wen's hand and pulled it ruthlessly. Duan Wen screamed. Before she could react, Yundong slapped her across the face. Then, she pushed her out. Duan Wen fell to the ground again. This time, she used a little too much strength, and but instantly felt a burning pain. She also felt pain on her face, as if the bones in her wrist had been crushed. She cried out in pain, tears streaming down her face. Yundong looked down at her condescendingly. "Next time, if you don't keep your mouth clean, I don't mind using even more brutal methods to wash it for you. You know very well what shameful things you've done. If you want to push the blame to others, you have to see if I accept it. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1289, chased out at this moment. Second Master Duan and Do Fukang also ran over with their men and happened to hear these words. Second Master Duan immediately ran to help Duan Wen up. He turned around and wanted to question Yundong, but the servant beside him had already explained the matter in a few sentences. Second Master Duan's words were instantly stopped. However, Do Fukang became even angrier when he heard this. He suddenly turned to look at Second Master Duan and his daughter. "Initially, on account of our past friendship, I politely asked you to leave. I didn't expect you to be so unreasonable. You even threatened Mrs. Shao's reputation with your nonsense. Looks like I don't have to be polite to you anymore. Men, chase the two of them out." "Yes." The servants immediately came forward and pulled the father and daughter out. They did not seem to be polite at all. Second Master Duan immediately panicked. Young Master Do, we were wrong. I'll get Wenner to apologize to Mrs. Shao now." He pressed Duan Wen's head towards Yundong, but Yundong turned around and left. Do Fukang waved his hand and the father and daughter were chased out of the Do residence. There had always been people watching outside the Do residence. After all, General Do had been the center of discussion in the entire Wanqing prefecture these days. Therefore, as soon as the father and daughter were chased out, many people immediately saw them. The onlookers were immediately stunned. What happened? Isn't Second Master Duan very close to the Do family? They were thrown out so rudely. Are these two families going to fall out? Didn't everybody say that young Master Do is going to be engaged to Second Miss Duan? Serves him right. During this period of time, Second Master Duan has the Do family backing him up. I don't know how proud he is. He thinks that he's superior to others and acts arrogantly. He's just a merchant without much ability. He really thinks of himself as young Master Do's father-in-law. In that case, the Do family is no longer Second Master Duan's backer. The Duan family's eldest young Master Duan is missing, and Second Master Duan no longer has the support of the Do family. Wouldn't the Duan family be finished in the future? These words immediately made the expressions of the people beside him change slightly. Many people had already rushed back to tell their masters. Second Master Duan and Duan Wen originally wanted to plead for leniency and asked the concierge to let them in, but the surrounding pointed fingers were really unbearable. They could only bury their heads and leave in a hurry. Not long after, the news of Second Master Duan and his daughter being chased out of the Do family spread to more than half of the merchant families in the prefectural city. Many people cheered and secretly rejoiced. They secretly had designs on the Duan family. The Duan family's shopkeepers were even more worried. However, everyone was still watching. Who knew if the Duan family and the Do family had really fallen out? What if it was just a misunderstanding? Once they took action, the Do family might start supporting the Duan family again. Someone wanted to enter the Duan residence to inquire about the situation, but Second Master Duan's family had been holed up in the residence ever since. When Yundong returned, the Yu family had already heard the news. Eugene ran to her to ask. However, Yundong laughed and looked mysterious. Don't worry. The Duan family won't fall into chaos in a few days. Let's just focus on our business and ignore the rumors outside. All right. With Gu Yundong's words, Eugene stopped paying attention. But later, Gu Yundong sent Jilan and Huilan to the Dou residence. Duan Qian was recuperating in the Dou residence, and Duan Wan was staying in the Dou residence. Jilan and Huilan could also help out in the Dou residence. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1290, Appearance 3 days later, some restless people in the prefecture finally could not take it anymore. After discovering that Second Master Duan did not have any dealings with the Dou family, they wanted to take action against the Duan family's business. However, no one expected that the business that was already full of loopholes because of Second Master Duan would now be watertight, so they could not find any mistakes. The Duan family's shopkeepers, who had been in a panic a few days ago, had become energetic these few days. Everyone was puzzled. At that moment, Duan Qian finished reading the letter that shopkeeper Luo had sent and smiled slightly. Then, he asked Duan Wan to bring him a brush and paper and started a new round of arrangements. Now, when Duan Qian did these things again, he would no longer avoid Duan Wan. This incident had also taught him a deep lesson. He knew that he could not blindly protect his sister and dote on her. He was not powerful enough to protect her for the rest of his life. Only when he became stronger could he be fearless. He had seen this from Gu Yundong. Moreover, from what Duan Wan said, she wanted to try doing business herself, so Duan Qian had started to teach her some basic knowledge step by step. After writing the letter and sending it out, Duan Qian heaved a sigh of relief. Just as he was about to continue teaching Duan Wan some business tactics, he saw Dou Fukang enter excitedly. As soon as he entered, he said in a low voice, "The soldiers guarding the city saw a man who looked like Liangzi enter the city." Duan Qian looked up. "Really?" "Yes, I'm just here to tell you that you haven't fully recovered yet, so it's not convenient for you to show your face. Rest well first. Don't worry, Qingyuan and I will definitely not let these people escape again." Although Duan Qian wanted to go out and help, he was indeed powerless. Moreover, if Liangzi saw that he was safe and sound, he would probably destroy Dou Fukang and the others' deployment. Therefore, he could only say with a serious expression, "Be careful." Dou Fukang nodded. After glancing at Duan Wan, he turned around and strode away. He went to the provision store and then came out with Shao Qingyuan to where Liangzi was now. It was an inconspicuous small courtyard in an alley not far from the Duan mansion. The courtyard was not big. According to the neighbors, this courtyard had just been bought not long ago. However, after buying it, no one had lived in it until today. Shao Qingyuan and Dou Fukang were sitting at a noodle stall not far from the courtyard. They ordered 2 bowls of soup noodles and chatted as they ate. "Are you sure he went in? Were the people you sent to follow him discovered?" Shao Qingyuan asked. "Yes, the taste of this noodles was not bad. He would bring a bowl back for his wife later. Don't worry, the person following him is my father's guard. He's good at tracking and investigation. It's overkill to let him follow Liangzi." Shao Qingyuan was relieved to hear that. "Only Liangzi is here now. I wonder if Mrs. Zhua and the others will come. Let's wait for 2 days." After eating the noodles, Shao Qingyuan ordered another bowl to go, put down the copper coins, and left. For the rest of the time, Dou Fukang sent people to keep an eye on the small courtyard. Liangzi had entered and left a few times. There were even a few times when he walked towards the Duan mansion. As expected, their target was the Duan mansion. On the 3rd day, Dou Fukang received news that Mrs. Zhua had also entered the city and was living in the small courtyard with her subordinates. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1291, Smashing the Duan family's shop. However, Mrs. Zhua didn't act. She did not go out for 2 consecutive days after she arrived. This made Dou Fukang a little confused. He sat in the backyard of the provision store and looked at Shao Qingyuan and Gu Yundong. Do you think they're going to attack the Duan family? Most likely. Yundong felt that it must be. Qingyuan poured a cup of tea for Dou Fukang and said, I think it's very likely that Mrs. Zhua is scared. Scared? Of whom? Your father, Qingyuan and Yundong said in unison. Dou Fukang wasn't stupid. With this reminder, he instantly came to a realization. You're saying that Mrs. Zhua has also heard a lot of rumors these past few days that the Dou family is the Duan family's backer, making them worry. Even when I chased Second Master Duan and the others out of the Duan residence back then, it didn't dispel their wariness. They don't believe that we don't get along with the Duan family? Most likely. Then, what should we do? Although Dou Fukang really wanted his father to arrest Mrs. Zhua and the others and throw them into jail, Mrs. Zhua was a cautious person and didn't leave any evidence behind. Even his father couldn't arrest her for no reason. Knowing that they were going to make a move on the Duan family, Dou Fukang had been waiting. Although it was not good to use Second Master Duan as bait, this was the most suitable method at the moment. However, Mrs. Zhua had to do something about it. Put on a show for them, Qingyuan said. Dou Fukang's eyes lit up. Tell me about it. You'll get someone to destroy the Duan family's shop. Dou Fukang, are you serious? Do you have to be so cruel? He looked at Qingyuan in disagreement. After a while, he suddenly stood up and walked out. I'll remind Duan Qian first. He also had to tell Duan Qian that this was Qingyuan's idea and definitely not his. Unexpectedly, Duan Qian agreed. Thus, on the second day, something big happened in the Duan family's shop in the prefecture capital. A group of soldiers barged into the silk shop in the east of the city and threw the fabric in the shop to the ground. The shopkeeper wanted to stop them, but he did not expect to be immediately handcuffed and taken away. Shopkeeper Lin immediately exclaimed loudly, What are you doing? Why are you arresting me? Why do you think? You know what you've done. The leader snorted. Shopkeeper Lin was stunned. He did not know what he had done. He struggled with all his might. You can't arrest me. Our boss is Second Master Duan. Second Master Duan and your young Master Dou are old acquaintances. Pfft. The soldier hit Shopkeeper Lin's head. Don't use the flag to harm our young master again. If you have the ability, let the person surnamed Duan come. Our young master can settle all the old and new scores with him. Let's see if he dares to walk out of the Duan manor and show his face. Shopkeeper Lin's face instantly turned pale. In that case, the rumors were true. Did Second Master Duan really fall out with young Master Dou? However, he was still indignant. Seeing that he was about to be taken away, he hurriedly turned to the shop assistant and said, Hurry up and find Second Master Duan. Go. The shop assistant lowered his head slightly and a glint flashed across his eyes. He responded and quickly ran out. The soldiers sneered disapprovingly and left with Shopkeeper Lin. The two people at the back closed the shop and sealed it. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1292, Killing Two Birds with One Stone. In the tea house opposite the silk shop, Yundong and Qingyuan were eating melon seeds while watching the commotion. They glanced around and quickly found a few people turning around and running away. There were also two people who followed the shop assistant who had just left, as if they wanted to see if the shop assistant had really gone to the Duan family to look for Second Master Duan and if Second Master Duan would really save Shopkeeper Lin. Yundong took a sip of tea before shaking her head and sighing. This is killing two birds with one stone. Yes. Qingyuan nodded. He knew that Duan Qian would definitely agree to his suggestion. Shopkeeper Lin was the first person Duan Wan thought of to be trustworthy. Duan Qian had once saved his life. Unfortunately, this person was bewitched by beauty and had already turned to Second Master Duan's side. He even helped Second Master Duan do many things. Therefore, the first shop Duan Qian wanted to smash was the silk shop managed by Shopkeeper Lin. On the other hand, the shop assistant was on Duan Qian's side. After this matter was over, the assistant's position could probably be promoted. Of course, besides this silk shop, the other two shops that Do Fukang had gotten someone to smash also belonged to Second Master Duan's men. This way, not only could he help Duan Qian get rid of these traitors, but he could also announce to everyone that the Do and Duan families had completely fallen out and the Duan family would no longer support Second Master Duan. As for Second Master Duan, he definitely did not dare to show his face. Sure enough, someone quickly ran back and announced it loudly. You don't know this, but just now, an assistant from the silk shop ran to the Duan family and said that he wanted to look for Second Master Duan. The guard went in for a while before coming out. Then, he said that Second Master Duan is bedridden and can't get up now. He asked shopkeeper Lin to think of a way himself. Just now, the Duan family's shop in the south of the city was also destroyed. The shopkeeper was taken away. F***ck, not only did young Master Do and the Duan family not become in-laws, but they even formed a deep hatred. The Duan family is doomed. What did Second Master Duan do to make the Do family so angry? Yes, what did Second Master Duan do? Even Second Master Duan himself could not understand it. He had lied to the Do family to take credit. However, at least he had contributed a little back then. Even if he did not contribute, he had worked hard. Even if they could not become in-laws, they still had friendship. Was there a need to be so ruthless? He did not cause any losses to the Do family. Moreover, it was eldest brother who helped them back then. The Duan family's shops were originally managed by eldest brother. Wasn't the Do family afraid that eldest brother would rest with remaining grievances underground if they were so ruthless? However, Second Master Duan did not dare to ask these questions. He did not even dare to step out of the house. Not only him, even Second Aunt Duan and Duan Wen did not dare to go out. The Duan family's shopkeepers were also trembling in fear, afraid that they would be the next person to be captured. However, when they went to the Duan family to ask for ideas, the Duan family refused to see them. Fortunately, after capturing 3 shopkeepers, those people stopped. Only then did everyone heave a sigh of relief. However, immediately after, those merchants who coveted the Duan family began to exert their strength. Even though Duan Qian was behind it and he could not show his face after all and his deterrence was much lower, the Duan family's shops more or less suffered some losses. Duan Qian didn't mind. He could still bear this loss. As long as he dealt with Mrs. Zhua and the others, he could still earn back the money with his ability. Fortunately, the news came soon. Mrs. Zhua and the others couldn't wait any longer and started to take action. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1293, Duan Wen and her daughter are caught. Although the Duan family did not go out, it did not mean that the people outside could not enter. The Duan family claimed that they were sick, but they were not really bedridden. Duan Wen's temper had become exceptionally bad after she was slapped by Gu Yundong and chased out of the house by Do Fukang. Second Aunt Duan saw that her daughter couldn't just keep smashing stuff in the room all day, so she could only take her for a walk in the courtyard to take care of flowers and adjust her mood. Then, Duan Wen raised her favorite words until they were half dead. Duan Wen was so angry that she wanted to tear off the flower branches, but Second Aunt Duan stopped her. She originally wanted to ask the gardener and the residents to fix it, but she did not expect the gardener to be sick at this time. Therefore, she could only secretly call someone from outside to try to save the pots of flowers. Mrs. Zhua entered the Duan mansion dressed as a gardener. Second Aunt Duan could not control what happened after that. In short, when she woke up, she and her daughter were already locked in a dark house. The surroundings were dark and terrifying. Second Aunt Duan quickly pushed Duan Wen awake and moved her tied hands. Her face was pale. When Duan Wen woke up and looked up, she happened to see a memorial tablet placed on the table in front of her. On it was written, "The spirit position of Zhuahong, the deceased husband." Ah! Duan Wen screamed and suddenly retreated, knocking Second Aunt Duan to the ground. Second Aunt Duan snorted in pain and quickly scolded, "Shut up." However, it was too late. The door was opened and a man with a sullen expression walked in. Their voices stopped abruptly, and they looked up at him with trepidation. "You, who are you? Why did you capture us? Do you want silver? How much do you want? I'll give it to you." "Well, give it all to you. Let us go." Liangzi looked down at them from above. His indifference made them tremble with fear. He glanced at them and said, "Don't worry, I'll reunite your family. Before that, do you see the memorial tablet over there? Kowtow and admit your mistake. You owe him that." With that, Liangzi closed the door. The mother and daughter in the house immediately shouted, but it was useless. They were already outside the city. Other than this manor, there was no family here. Liangzi went out to see Mrs. Zhua. Mrs. Zhua took a few steps forward and asked, "How's Second Master Duan?" "On the way here." Liangzi hesitated for a moment before saying, "But the second young master of the Duan family went out and we couldn't catch him." Mrs. Zhua frowned, but she soon relaxed. "Forget it. Let's reunite the family of 3 first. Second young master Duan will join them later." As she spoke, Mrs. Zhua's eyes flashed with madness and bloodlust. Just wait. She would deal with the murderers who killed her husband one by one. So what if it was the Duan family? So what if they could do whatever they wanted in Wanqing Prefecture? In the end, wouldn't they still end up like this? Not only the Duan family, but also the people who had participated in it. She would take revenge. Unfortunately, the helper the Duan family had invited had already left the Qingyuan Prefecture. Otherwise, she wouldn't have targeted the Duan family first. "Have you found Duan Wan yet?" Liangzi lowered his head and said with some self-blame, "It's said that she set fire to the Duan family previously and disappeared without a trace. No one knows her whereabouts. The Duan family searched for many days but couldn't find her." Mrs. Zhua smirked. "She's good at hiding. Continue to send people to keep an eye on her. Find her even if she's hiding in a rat hole." "Yes, ma'am." As he spoke, the sound of wheels rolling could be heard from outside. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1294, You Implicated Us. Liangzi opened the door and saw 2 people carrying a sack in. Second Master Duan was finally here. Liangzi led the 2 of them to the room where the Duan family's mother and daughter were imprisoned. The 2 people in the room had already lost their strength from shouting. At this moment, when they heard footsteps, they immediately shrank in a corner in fear and looked at Liangzi in horror. Liangzi waved his hand, and the 2 people carrying the sack behind him threw it to the ground. A familiar groan came from inside. The sack was untied, revealing Second Master Duan's bruised face. Second Aunt Duan screamed and quickly moved forward. Master, what's wrong? Why are you here too?" Second Master Duan coughed twice. When he saw the mother and daughter, he could not help but widen his eyes. Why are you here too?" "Congratulations, Second Master Duan, on reuniting with your wife and daughter." A low female voice came from outside the door. The 3 people in the room looked up in unison and saw a short woman in men's clothes walk in. She was clearly smiling, but her eyes were ice-cold, looking especially frightening. The 3 members of the Duan family quickly huddled together. They looked at the woman in front of them in surprise and asked with a trembling voice, Why did you capture us? Who sent you? Is it General Dou?" Mrs. Zhua couldn't help but snicker. "You think so highly of yourself. If General Dou wants to arrest you, why go through so much trouble? Then who are you?" Mrs. Zhua straightened up and looked to the side. Her cold gaze softened instantly, and there seemed to be thousands of emotions in her eyes. The 3 members of the Duan family followed her gaze and saw a memorial tablet. Still looking at the tablet, Mrs. Zhua asked softly, "Do you remember him?" Second Master Duan looked at the name carefully. The next moment, his expression changed drastically. He is, it seems that you do remember. Second Master Duan shook his head desperately. He originally did not remember this name. It was just that General Do had recently appeared in the prefectural city. When he mentioned what happened back then, he recalled it again. Naturally, he also thought of the name of the leader of the human traffickers. The man's name was Swahong. Her deceased husband? So this woman, Second Master Duan suddenly gasped. You want to avenge him? You're finally smarter. Mrs. Zwa smiled. My late husband has been waiting underground for more than 10 years. He must be very happy to see me kill his enemy. Second Master Duan broke out in a cold sweat. He looked around and saw that everyone was on Mrs. Zwa's side. Knowing that it was hopeless for him to escape, he could only admit his mistake and beg for mercy. Mrs. Zwa, I was wrong. Please spare me. Please let us go. I can use other things to compensate you. How about silver? The Duan family has silver, and they'll give you half. No, they'll give you everything in the Duan family. They'll give you everything, okay? Please let us go. Please, Mrs. Zwa, we're innocent. Even if my husband did something wrong, what does it have to do with us? We don't know anything. We're innocent. When Second Master Duan heard this, his expression instantly changed. He pounced over and hit Second Aunt Duan. What are you saying? I wanted to use all the Duan family's assets to exchange for the lives of our family, but you can't wait to cut ties. Second Aunt Duan's hands were tied and she could not fight back. Duan Wen, who was at the side, bumped her head against Second Master Duan. Father, Mother is right. You implicated us. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1295, An Easier Death. Seeing the family of three biting each other, Mrs. Zwa lowered her head and chuckled. No wonder the Duan family fell into Duan Qian's hands. Duan Qian didn't even beg for mercy when he was chased by us to the point of jumping into the river. You guys, on the other hand, have internal strife before I even said what to do. He. Second Master Duan and the other two suddenly stopped. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly said loudly, Yes, Duan Qian. What happened more than 10 years ago was done by my brother. It was Duan Qian's father who was investigating your husband. He was also the one who sent me a letter to find someone to save him. There's also young Master Do. Second Aunt Duan immediately shouted. At that time, young Master Do was kidnapped by your husband. He was the first to escape and even reported it to the officials. Your husband was sentenced to be beheaded because of the Do family. Duan Wen also shouted from the side, Yes. At that time, Duan Wen accidentally saw young Master Do. Young Master Do asked her for help, so she ran back to look for my uncle and asked him to report it to the officials. The family spoke at once, spitting out all the credit they had claimed. Mrs. Zwa and Liangzi's expressions changed slightly, as if they hadn't expected this to be the truth. Previously, they had investigated the Duan family and knew that it was because of the Duan family's interference that her husband was caught and beheaded. Therefore, she hated the Duan family to the core and wanted everyone in the Duan family to die. However, she did not know that the person who had played a big role was actually Duan Wen, whom they had yet to find. Also, young Master Do, the Do family. Mrs. Zwa's expression instantly turned ugly. She had already lost several people because of Duan Qian. If she went against the Do family, she would have no chance of winning at all. Liangzi quickly saw through her thoughts and immediately said softly, Madam, there's still a long way to go. We can deal with the Duan family first and then make plans about the Do family. Mrs. Zwa closed her eyes and took a deep breath. That's right. She had endured it for so many years. She could just do it for a while longer. When she opened her eyes again, Mrs. Zwa's gaze turned sharp. Second Master Duan and the other two were shocked when they saw this. It was over. She still did not intend to let them off. Mrs. Zhua, every injustice has its perpetrator and every debt has its debtor. Although my brother and sister-in-law are dead, Duan Wan and young Master Do are still alive. Go find them and let us go. Mrs. Zhua snickered. Let you go? You've seen what I look like and know our past. Do you think we'll let you go? That's ridiculous. As she spoke, she no longer paid attention to the three of them. She turned around and called out, Liangzi. Yes. Liangzi turned around and left. After a while, another man walked in with a porcelain bottle in his hand and handed it to Mrs. Zhua. Mrs. Zhua said, I don't want to dirty my hands, and I don't want my late husband to see you bleeding from your 7 orifices, lest you scare him. So, I've picked an easier way for you to die. She shook the bottle in her hand. I specially prepared this medicine for you. After taking it, your stomach will hurt unbearably. You will feel countless poisonous insects biting your bodies. There will be fire burning your skin and needles stabbing your fingers. After an hour of pain, you will stop breathing. But don't worry, you won't bleed from your 7 orifices. You will still be very clean when you die. How could this be called an easy death? After hearing this, the 3 members of the Duan family felt the world spin. Despair that they had never felt before surged in their hearts. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1296, A Step Too Late Mrs. Zhua walked up and pulled Second Aunt Duan over. Second Aunt Duan screamed, Ah, let go of me, let go, don't touch me. Mrs. Zhua punched her in the stomach. Second Aunt Duan opened her mouth in pain. The next moment, a small black pill was stuffed into her mouth. Mrs. Zhua put some force into it and she swallowed it. Second Master Duan and Duan Wen gasped. They wanted to cry and curse loudly, but at this moment, when they looked at Second Aunt Duan who was lying on the ground and struggling in pain, their throats seemed to be blocked by someone and they could not make a sound. Mrs. Zhua walked up to Duan Wen. The latter's eyes widened in horror and tears streamed down her face. No, don't kill me. Please, don't kill me. Mrs. Zhua was expressionless. In order to prevent her from struggling, she punched her in the stomach and stuffed the medicine in when she wasn't paying attention. In the end, only Second Master Duan was left. Seeing that his daughter and wife had been poisoned, Second Master Duan's eyes turned red. He struggled to stand up and wanted to run out. The man next to Mrs. Zhua kicked him and knocked him to the ground. Mrs. Zhua walked up and stuffed the medicine into his mouth without saying anything else. Then, she kicked him hard and said to the person beside her, Watch them. When they die, dig a pit in the backyard and bury them. Yes. Mrs. Zhua took out a handkerchief and wiped her hands before leaving the house. She looked up at the sunlight above her head and the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Finally, she had taken half of her revenge. Ha ha ha, husband, just wait and see. They'll be there to accompany you soon. Don't worry, I'll send all the people who killed you down. Don't be anxious. Wait a little longer. With that, she closed her eyes and exhaled in enjoyment. The next moment, she suddenly opened her eyes. However, at this moment, a light suddenly flashed across the corner of her eye, as if something had flown past. Mrs. Zhua turned around and saw 2 figures jumping down from the wall. Lin Junlan, you actually dared to barge into the Duan residence and kidnap Second Master Duan's family of 3. Now, you even killed them to silence them and committed a heinous crime. You're simply lawless. Don't even think about escaping today. After saying that, the 2 of them rushed over to Mrs. Zhua. Mrs. Zhua's face changed slightly and she stepped back. She retreated back into the house and moved the memorial tablet away from the table. She touched something, and a tunnel quickly appeared in front of her. Without another word, Mrs. Zhua ran into the tunnel. However, as soon as she reached the bottom of the stairs, the tiles above her cracked and a crossbow bolt fell straight down. Mrs. Zhua's pupils constricted and she stepped back, but she was still shot in the arm. The tablet in her arms fell to the ground with a thud. Blood welled up in Mrs. Zhuo's eyes and she reached out to pick it up. Yundong jumped down from the roof and landed on the table with a bang. Then, she reached out to grab Mrs. Zhuo. Mrs. Zhuo was actually quite skilled, especially since Yundong had caused her to drop her husband's tablet on the ground. She was extremely angry and moved a little faster. Yundong could not do anything to her for a moment. Fortunately, Do Fukang's experts quickly dealt with the miscellaneous soldiers outside. They pushed open the door and came in, working together to take Mrs. Zhuo down. Mrs. Zhuo closed her eyes and heaved a sigh of relief. Suddenly, she smiled. Unfortunately, you're a step too late. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible.